Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 465, the year-end special. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
The year has going to end, and we will continue to give you some awesomeness.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Adam Vale.
Happy birthday, Jesus.
Brett Murdoch.
What up, people?
And Brian Manjoma.
I know that we're on Twitch, but I have to say this. I'm just really tired of Twitch.
Oh, my God.
Yo, Tony, you showing too much, man. We were about to get
right?
flagged.
Twitch is crazy right now, man.
Okay, Brian, take the top off.
But we will keep our tops on and not oil ourselves. I wish I was making this up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You didn't consult me about this before the podcast. Don't make promises for me.
Oh, man. Twitch, what is you doing? I guess Twitch's like, hey, we got that OnlyFans money, you know? It's hilarious.
Bro, they can't decide what they want to be.
As it always is, they if somebody says, "Oh man, we can't show this. This is totally you can't show this." But how much money are you going to be making off? We'll just throw it all in, yo.
Remember hot tub streams, how that became a thing, and now we got this, Yeah,
here's what I don't get. Like, what is with the video game industry like not being able to come to terms with like the booth babe conundrum? Right? Like gamers like scantily clad hot chicks. You don't need to make it pervy though. Like there's a line between thirsty and pervy that video games have ridden since the beginning of time. It is the natural order.
But here's the thing though with Twitch, these girls aren't even playing video games. They're just talking. They're literally just talking about anything, We've lost the line. Like, yeah. I get it. Twitch should be about video games, though, not. I agree.
Whatever these fucking bitches are.
Yeah.
And if you want to put on a Bowsette costume and stream Tetris for views, I don't give a shit. Do weird shit. Do thirsty shit.
All it just proves is just how thirsty certain dudes are.
Yeah.
All you need to do is just show a little bit of skin, and they're like, continuing to donate.
I'll be honest, man. I don't even blame the girls. They're just doing what they got to do.
No,
I blame the thirsty. Yeah, I blame the thirsty motherfuckers.
Exactly. They take it because they're so thirsty and stupid, and they'll just instantly as soon as they get.
She's gonna fuck me if I give her money. Okay, bro.
Yeah, they just keep throwing it at them.
Like that's not how it works, man. That is not how it works.
That's not what I'm saying. Like this, Tony. This isn't a video game thing though. That's the thing that fucking drives me crazy. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but like as a tattoo artist, it drives me fucking crazy because. All you have to do to get, like, fucking viral Instagram reels as a girl tattoo artist is, like, show you before the tattoo. Yep. So, like, you don't even see the tattoo until you click on the fucking post because it's a thumbnail of the fucking girl. I'm not sure about you, Manny, but, like,
I remember Miami Heat. I remember seeing all those. All those tattoo shows back in the day. That's what they turned into.
Yeah, Kat Von D is famous for this very reason. She's a mid-tattoo artist and a fucking... insufferable bitch.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't. As much as like a lot of people like to believe it's like yes, it's most definitely about having talent, but it's also about who you are and what you look like. It's always been that way.
Always been like for everything, from music, all that stuff.
You could be the most mediocre artist in the world, and if you look good. Shit,
that's it.
You got. They give you the money. So our world likes to pretend it's not as superficial as it truly is.
It is. It's all about looks and shit. It's all about it. Anyway, let's not get too off topic here. Twitch is a trash heap. But let's get.
That's why Tony makes all the big bucks on camera because he's a pretty face.
That's why we coming back to YouTube, man. That's why we coming back to YouTube.
Yep, we're coming back next year, people. Yep, it's gonna happen. We'll still be on Twitch though, but
we'll be on both. We'll be on
everything, man.
Abandoning you guys over here.
Anyway, year-end special. So we're gonna do what we always do. We've been doing this for like this specific thing, like over 10 years now.
Yep.
We are going to go over the biggest gaming news that happened in 2023, talk about our favorite games of the year, talk about our biggest disappointments, and also what we're looking forward to in 2024. You know, I know some guys still ask us like, hey, can you do, your top 10 games of the year? It's like, we can't come together on this shit. That's why we do our personal top 3.
Exactly, because we also don't all play all the games.
Yeah.
Like
do you guys want a monolith or not?
What happened? Yeah, exactly. That's what they want. It's like, what is it is very rare when you have a throwdown game, Some have come close.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Monster Hunter. That came close, but generally,
I mean, we all pretty much played Spider-Man. So that's one. I guess.
We diverse motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. I thought you motherfuckers wanted diversity.
No, they don't want real diversity.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, I asked you guys beforehand, it's like, select a gaming topic you want to discuss. And obviously, we may have a couple others extras. So let's get into it, man. I'll start first with the obvious one, the thing that sucked up all the bandwidth this fucking year. The story that we kept trying.
No, don't say.
Yeah. No. The story that we kept trying to get away with. Yeah.
Well, I am shocked that you are going to voluntarily steer us into this topic.
We have no choice.
I thought it was stories that were finished, though.
Adam's
that's still going. I'm just wondering. Like, I thought it was for stories that have come and gone.
This has got this is gone.
It's still in court. It's still going.
Nah, in my heart, it's gone. But even if it's still going, Adam, it's still the biggest thing to happen this year. Unfortunately, Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft, all that nonsense. We tried to get away from the story many, many times, but something new happened almost every week. And you guys in the chat right there wanted us to keep talking about it. You were very vocal about it in the Discord. So obviously this was the biggest story of the year. And like Adam said, it's still kind of going, even though
they didn't appeal.
Even though the deal is sealed, like this fucking bitch Khan can't take the L, and she's still going. But and here's the thing about this story. This story's been going on for 2 years, if you think about it. From the jump. And it was all take it how you will. It's like basically
since the deal was announced. That was it.
The EU, the FCC, whatever the fuck, the FTC,
the E3 committee,
everybody,
the CMA.
Everybody had their own different reasons. It's like, Microsoft's going to have a monopoly on Call of Duty. They're going to take over streaming. All these fucking things all year. And then obviously, the gamers didn't want to, have it. They thought Microsoft was just gobbling up all the companies and everything. And, it was just a mess. It was just a hot mess the entire year, man. There's not really much more I want to say about it other than it's very sad that that's the biggest thing that was happening in gaming. This was the year, and we'll get to this too, this is the year where we finally started getting some great fucking games after 3 years of just being dry. And this is the thing everybody wanted to talk about, But I understand why. It's like $69 billion and shit, Call of Duty. Like, I understand. It was just a lot of drama going on, So, Adam, what are your thoughts on it? Because I know you were one of the guys that kind of wanted this to go forward.
Because it's about that time. If it wasn't going to be them, it was going to be Tencent. And that's the problem with a lot of these things. It's the lesser of the two evils. We knew someone was going to buy them up because they were for sale. And it's who has the money for it. They offered it to Apple Pass, Amazon Pass. So what are your options? Would you prefer Microsoft? At least we know what they're going to do with it. Or Tencent, which could ruin everything. And then everybody will be pissed. So I knew it was going to happen, and it did. And it is. We'll see what happens when an actual Call of Duty comes out under their wing. Not this shit, because this was already in development and all that. So next year, we'll see.
Next year count?
Next year does count. Next year does count, because that's where they're putting their development teams on it. That's where they're going to be doing the shuffle, because it's like, hey, people that are in-house that want to move around and go to different projects and studios. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I don't like the rumors about it being in Afghanistan, because, I mean, what can you do there? It's a desert. It's going to look boring. Everyone's going to be in tunnels and fighting in mountains. That's not fun. That's the whole reason why they keep going back to World War II, because you have all those European locations to go to. So
cut off.
It looks like the Afghans took out.
The Afghans took him. They didn't like him talking shit. But Carlos, since you were talking, man, what are your thoughts on this whole drama that was happening this year that we spent many hours of Throwdown talking about?
Unfortunately, like you mentioned, this was the biggest story in gaming, and it just seemed like the never-ending story. This shit took longer than the never-ending story. Well, it sucks because it took a lot of the discourse away from stuff that was actually going on, and that's going to be my topic later on. But tease. But yeah, it's the whole bullshit going back and forth. Hearing all the people that were invested in it, hearing all the different stories and different things that came out that not leaked, but that were redacted from Microsoft emails and talking about Sony, talking about exclusivity about stuff, and it was just on and on where we got to see a lot of what Phil and Microsoft was thinking about all of this stuff, and apparently they thought they were going to go under, and they think that this is their saving grace. So we'll see what happens. I'm glad that we're on the ass end of all of this. Like Adam mentioned, there's still some stuff going around. It looks like something they want to resurrect. FTC wants to resurrect it. Just move the fuck on. It unfortunately it probably was the biggest gaming story of 2023. Maybe the Grand Theft Auto was the biggest, but yeah, this definitely took the longest out of the timeline.
Yeah, and this is the year where it really heated up. But yeah, one of the things that was interesting was to me was how Xbox pretty much just said, "Yo, we're in third place. We're losing badly." They admitted it. It's like, oh yeah, they even said our games are not as quality as PlayStation's games. It's like, wow. All in an effort to make themselves seem lesser. Very interesting.
All did it. Sony did the same thing, saying that we don't make a lot of money. We're always hurting. We only have 2 games. Come on, help us. We're the little guys. Yeah, and that's when that big billboard that popped up. Remember, in Europe, between 85% of gamers have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
You guys kicking it. Come on now.
Then Xbox like, see?
They're like, no, we only have 4 or 5 kids that like this PlayStation shit. Come on, man. We're hurting. Things aren't great over here. Yo, we got an insurance company. That's all we got. We got this gaming shit that we're struggling with. Spider-Man, not many people know him. They know Ant-Man, but Spider-Man, he's on the lower pole. Come on. Let us live.
Crazy.
You don't know how hard it is,
right?
The struggle.
Yeah. Brett, since you're talking, what were your thoughts on this insanity that just engulfed the entire gaming industry for most of this year?
This is a lot of hoopla for a game developer that is essentially a shell of what it used to be, right? Like everybody is fucking in arms about this. First of all, the entire company was on fire when it was acquired, right? Accusations of sexual harassment, as well as just mid game development, and even as gamers, let's be fucking honest, Blizzard has not been doing us solid. In fact, they've been bending us over and taking advantage of us for fucking years, almost since they were acquired by Activision. So I find it fucking hilarious as somebody who's been a longtime Blizzard fan, how up in arms people I can't come at it from the Call of Duty side. Honestly, I don't care. I can't muster the bandwidth to fucking care. I just don't. So that's its own whole thing. But people getting up in arms, being we're losing this, this thing. This is the best thing that could have happened for this company. Otherwise, they would have gone fucking out of business. And the thing that drives me crazy about a lot of this is a lot of the people who are adamantly against this would honestly rather just see Blizzard Activision shutter than this happen. You'd really rather see a game company that you supposedly close down rather than be infused with capital from another company that's kind of known for just letting the people they acquire do their own thing. to disastrous results sometimes, might I add. Looking at you, Redfall. Like, it's...
Yeah.
And Brett, the whole thing, the important note that you made is this was really a war of one game. I mean, this is just Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's all
it was
it
about Call of Duty. It was about Call of Duty in the end, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Even Call of Duty, even at Call of Duty, Adam will attest to this. I can't say this personally, but like, Call of Duty as a franchise was kind of a dumpster fire, right? Like, it wasn't doing good things.
Well, it's not that it's doing anything good, but it already has that install base of people that just play it for multiplayer, just to run around with their buddies or do Warzone and buy those packs. They like buying those outfits. You want to be Homelander? No problem. Give us $20 and you're Homelander. And they're like, yay! And they're making hand over fist a lot of money with that shit. And so those people are never going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, so it's to me, this seemed like a big. I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna stop dancing around and just say the elephant in the room. This was more about fanboy ammunition than substantive change in the industry. Like, that's really what this was about. This was a proxy war for the console war, as far as I see it, and it was blown way out of proportion for that very reason. It became so much more than Blizzard Activision. It became Xbox PlayStation.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, and I guess because it's about the amount of money being exchanged, this made it into normie news. You know, normie news channels were talking about this.
Because the FTC jumped in.
Because Call of Duty is a normal game.
Because that's the thing. It's like, here's the thing, Brett. I agree with you 100% that a lot of, this was a lot of fanboy stuff, but the FTC got involved. I don't know if that was fanboy infused or not, but they did get involved. So that did make it a big deal beyond just the console war you see on Twitter or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying the FTC got involved because it's fanboy shit.
That's an interesting theory.
Well, it was mainly Jim Ryan who
I thought it was because he was on a world tour. You know,
he was on a world tour, just raising the alarms. Oh, this is horrible! This is horrible! And he brought it up to the FTC because remember that was their whole argument. You're trying to hurt the smaller company. You're trying to hurt Sony. How dare you?
Yeah, like let's not pretend for an instant here that if Jim Ryan were not involved in this, that this would have never gotten the pushback that it would have, and then it got pushback, and that's why it got in the fucking news, man.
Yeah, Jim Ryan definitely fought hard,
But when we said it, if this doesn't go through, he's gonna leave, and there you go.
Well, you're right. Yeah,
that's it. We knew it because it came out, all that shit. It was
Miss
his
Cleo
email saying that, hey, listen, I met with both of them, Activision, Phil, they're cool people. They're going to keep putting Call of Duty on our thing. We're fine. And that's his own words in his email. He brushed it off.
Yeah. Couple of comments. Actually, I'll get to the comments after I get everybody's thoughts here. Chris, what would you think of this whole mess?
Well, I think that it should have never occurred this way. There was way bigger acquisitions happening before or during this that should have set off alarms globally that never did. And I'm looking at Disney specifically. But the fact that, like Adam said, Jim Ryan went all over the world, he went to the UK, whatever, started complaining about anti-competitive behavior and whatnot, and started this whole fiasco is what set this off. And I think it's unfortunate that the head of the FTC seems to really have a bone to pick with Microsoft, because she's not just attacking them on this. She hasn't taken the L on this merger, but is also trying to. I think she opened up another investigation for OpenAI as well, and is looking into that. Now, I'm not commenting on that. That has nothing to do with gaming. That's a whole other can of worms. But this chick has a bone to pick with Microsoft specifically. It's clearly obvious, and Jim Ryan capitalized on that. Didn't work out in his favor. But we should not have been talking about this at the length that we have, because this never should have been a thing. Activision should have just been acquired gracefully. If concerns were brought up about contracts, that should have been settled privately. If Microsoft broke any of the contracts, like the 10-year deals with Call of Duty to PlayStation or Nintendo, that's why there's civil courts, and that's why there's contract negotiations. That's why there's lawyers involved on all sides, and they all have big-time lawyers. They all have big legal teams to figure this shit out. And if Microsoft broke it and said, fuck you, we're not going to give you, we're not going to do parity with Call of Duty, we're not giving you this game in 2026 or whatever, yeah, you go to court. That's what it's for. You say, hey, you broke the contract, and then you sue them for tons of money. That's how that works. It's all settled very gracefully, but this should have just been allowed to go through, and we should have been talking about other shit.
Yeah, I agree.
So this was ridiculous to begin with. The FTC should really drop it because it's already a done deal. Like, dragging this up is not going to do anything. And I feel like there's spike going on because then the whole thing with Sam Altman getting kicked out and then going to Microsoft and then somehow getting rehired in his job and the board dropping from OpenAI has now opened up another FTC investigation into Microsoft. So now they're dealing with that.
Yeah.
So there's just all this sour grapes going on.
Yeah, Khan really has it in for Microsoft, man. That's a vindictive woman, you know?
Yeah.
All right, and Brian, what are your thoughts on all this craziness?
It's mostly what you guys have said. It's just giant mess, and the whole thing just should have just gone or just not gone from the get-go. And yeah, I honestly don't care. Like, when I first heard the news, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then I heard that it was Activision wanting to be acquired, and I was like, okay, this is more interesting. So yeah, it's just, and then just turned into a whole mess with Jim Ryan getting involved, then FTC getting involved for no reasons, and then what came from the court cases and the documents, just kind of like, wow, this is just one giant mess. And yeah, it just became very tiring, and I'm happy that it's over, because I'm with you, Tony. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it is done.
Yeah, it's over. I'm glad you said it. It was exhausting talking about this every single week for months on end, you know? And Chris, I'm really glad you put it that way. Yeah, this should have just happened, over. It's the way it happened with Bethesda. We didn't have all this craziness going on. Bought the fucking company, we're done, we could move on. You know, but this just went on and on and on and on.
You mean BioWare? Oh, wait, not BioWare. No,
Bethesda. Bethesda's right.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to read some comments here before we get to the next thing. Because obviously, you know, this was a topic that was very important to the guys in the Discord, in the chat. Jay Shep, one of the staunchest guys against all this stuff, he says, "Why are you guys talking like Activision would close down if not for Microsoft, when the worst Call of Duty is the best-selling game, but by a long shot?" Again, here's the question I kept asking, and no one was able to answer it, even I've asked it a million times. Who would you have preferred to buy Activision? Because somebody was going to have to buy them. They probably would have just gone. You know, they would have. No
one said they were going to disappear forever.
It's not
like they were not going to disappear.
No,
it was more of a situation because the leadership that was there was tainted, and there was nothing that they could do to essentially.
Yeah, they weren't going to go back to business as usual. You know.
No, they're going to go back to business as usual.
I need to jump in here. Like, where do we think that? Like, do you not remember the huge sexual allegation scandal that was rocking the fucking company?
That could have destroyed it.
Started it all. That's what started it all.
Here's the thing. As soon as the acquisition news came out, that shit just vapored into nothingness. Right?
That's right.
You act like that wasn't the thing that stopped this. And, like, if you look at the industry, especially at that time, like, that shit was a fucking death sentence. People were running from this stock like it was on fire. And so, like, no, we're not saying the company definitely would have closed, but, like, bad things were happening. Very bad things.
It would have if push comes to shove, and if it was left as it was, there is a good chance it probably would have affected their sales, or at least public perception.
Yeah, it would have.
If that scandal hit like the way the purchase did, that would have totally messed their company up. So rather than I mean it's not, again, I feel like it didn't nearly hit that fever pitch, but I think they saw that already. I think they said, listen, there's no way we're going to be able to get this to go away, and if we let this roll any longer, we're going to start losing some serious money if they hadn't already. And I think that that was the best way they could think of. Essentially, artificial clear the slate. Get rid of all the leadership. It's got new leadership now, new shiny leadership, and then now we could just go back to business as usual. If you notice, what's his face is still there, dickhead.
Kotick,
but he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any power, and they don't want to let him go because of his golden parachute. So he's got like a semi-window seat.
We call that too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Which I fucking love. Like, good. Don't give him millions of dollars. Just be like, go sit in the fucking corner and think about what you did.
Yeah. So now he could just continue to get his money, and then they'll just wait for his fucking contract to go out, just like what's his face from Disney.
Well, he'll get it. He'll get his money.
The head of Marvel.
Yeah. He's gonna get his money. Because he owned most of the shares, and those shares are being bought up by Xbox.
Oh yeah, but like they did his parachute money. Like if he was fired, he had a clause in his contract. Like if he was fired, he got like $30 million or some stupid bullshit like that. Like, or no, it was like $300 million.
Well, you're talking about salary. What I'm talking about is the stock that he has in Activision, which is he probably has billions worth of stock.
The money.
Oh yeah, no, don't even like this. Like this is a.
He's leaving, by the way. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up, Blitz. Yeah, he is leaving. Kotick is leaving. Again, we predicted that shit. He would, as soon as his acquisition was done, he would leave, get his money, and be out. We saw this coming a mile away.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Any more thoughts on this, so we don't have to ever talk about this shit again?
I don't know. I mean,
it's still gonna keep going on.
I hate it. I hate it that the biggest story in gaming is this garbage.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about all like what was it? One of those things things came out when the games came out, and it's just like all anybody was just talking about was just this garbage, this acquisition shit.
This is gonna be forever now. This is for the life. Because whenever another Call of Duty comes out or any Activision IP comes out, and if it doesn't do well, they're going to bring this up.
Exactly.
This is it.
Or the thing about it is that now the magnifying glass is on Microsoft even more, because now those people, obviously the delusional people start being like, well. They're even doing it now. Oh, it did bad. It's because of the acquisition.
Yeah, you're seeing that already. Yeah, they're saying this Call of Duty that was in development for years was bad because of the acquisition. Okay, guys, come on now.
These are the same people I always remember when She-Hulk, the show came out, and they're like, look, they made a female version of the Hulk, not knowing that She-Hulk is an old IP that's been around forever in comics. They're like, nope. Marvel Studios made this just for now, to get with everything, not knowing that there is a She-Hulk. There's always been a She-Hulk.
So this keeps happening, and I'm perplexed by the phenomenon, man. Like people who know more than a casual person would know, right? Like they know, like the casual person isn't going to know that about most of this issue if they were buying a Call of Duty game, right? But then they move into the slightly informed but still mostly ignorant space, right? About being like, hey, there's an acquisition happening and this happened after the acquisition, but they don't know enough or haven't done the research to be like, yo, this was in development before the acquisition. So like it's this special place of like informed stupidity.
No,
you know what
I think they do know. They do know, but it just sounds
they know
better.
It's just fanboyism. It's just fanboyism.
It just sounds better to say, "Oh, look, you see," but they know. They just are willing to spew it out just to get people that don't know, so they can buy into it. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on to the next thing, Manny. What's your main thing you want to talk about?
The main thing is one of the one thing that the Game Awards totally did not mention, which because apparently nobody had any time. The 9,000 as of now 9,000 video game employees and developers that have lost their jobs this year. Unity being the top at 1,165. Another well-known one is Epic with the 830. Massive layoffs this year.
Yeah, this was a brutal fucking year for the game industry, man. Brutal.
9,000 people?
Yeah, 9,000 people were laid off this year.
5,000 people laid off this year.
I mean, a couple of studios.
And this
closed.
is a
couple of studios closed. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a studio just close off the not long ago.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, just last week because they couldn't hang. I mean, you know, a lot of games just came out this year, and it's just amazing that all of this happened. But it all stems from the delusion of what happened during the pandemic, that they thought that they could start making more money after all of that, after everything was said and done. It's like, no, man, you got to lower your projections. And every single company down the line made this same mistake. This is not only in video games. This is also in like everything, media, all of it, because they thought they could.
Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah. No, again, no one's talking about that. It's like these companies across the board thought they could maintain their like COVID profits after the shit died down. You know, it's like, yeah, like if you have people that can't leave their fucking house because the goddamn government tell them they're evil for doing so, you know, like, okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna play fucking videos. I'm gonna buy videos. I'm gonna order a bunch of shit and
I'm gonna order, I'm gonna order a bunch of toys and a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like but again, you know, that's what happens with greed, right? You just see very short term gains. You don't look at the long thing, like, oh, what's going to happen when the fucking bullshit lockdowns end and people actually get to live their lives again? They're not going to be spending all that much money on fucking, you know, So they didn't see that.
And what's happening now? It's all the bottoms are all falling out on everything, and everybody totally misjudged it. It's insane, unfortunate, you know.
Yeah.
And that started January. It started.
It's been a whole year. It's like almost every week we heard this shit. You know. Go ahead, Adam.
No, just thinking, and then a lot of these services thinking, well, we got them all hooked. We'll just keep raising the prices. Yeah. And it's like, no, they'll just go outside. They'll do all the shit. They're not going to pay your $15, $20 for your service anymore. They don't need it.
They should have raised the prices of all the services. They shouldn't. I mean, you know, obviously they're saying, "Oh, it's inflation." It's like
no, that's bullshit. No,
that's bullshit because you guys set the value for this stuff. What you all of a sudden are you claiming that your things are going to get any better with the increase in price? No, it's you motherfuckers wanting to get some more money for the same shit that you were giving before. And now what's happening? Everybody's canceling their services now, right?
Yeah, I want to get to this comment real quick by Jay Shep. He goes, why is no one connecting the epic layoffs to their court battles? There were a lot of other companies that had a bunch of layoffs that weren't embroidered in any court battles. I don't think there's any connection there.
Well, and also let us also add, Epic also came out themselves and said that they overestimated what they were doing.
They admitted it, yeah.
That was one of the, so they even said it, like, oh yeah, we overestimated. Overwatch is not doing as well as we expected it to do. You know,
Overwatch
we're organizing our company. So yeah,
and we saw Bungie; they had a bunch of layoffs. You know.
Oh yeah.
And you know, not to mention, you know, Activision Blizzard. They also had, they had quite.
Microsoft had a mass layoff. Remember, right after the deal,
Microsoft was laying off everybody across the board. From all of their divisions. And the thing is, they don't check what they're letting go. They just say, all right, cut it. Too expensive. Cut it.
Yep, that's literally that's what they do. Oh, it's cost how much money? Get rid of it. They don't think, you know. All right, Carlos, any thoughts on the all the layoffs?
No, not much. Just it was widespread and it lasted throughout the year. Even throughout this year, we saw layoffs. More recently, we saw studios close. It just sucks, man. It's one of those things where I feel like it could be better presented just how much it is, because I feel like no one really talks about it as much. And just to see how it affects game development and all these studios. But it sucks, man. It sucks that all these people have to lose their jobs, and Hassan still has a job with fucking Blue Box.
It makes no Hassan fucking grifter.
How is that guy continuing to? I mean, obviously he's a giant scam, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah,
man. Seriously.
money laundering scheme. Then there's no money. I don't know, man. Like that studio last week or whatever. It's like that's money laundering, man. You know, what's the name of that fucking game? That
the day after. They didn't make. The thing is, they didn't make any money. That's the shit. They didn't even get to that point. They overshot. That's pretty much what happened. What they wanted to do is what they couldn't do.
Their scope was too big.
What's up, Brian?
There's a bit more about that, but we'll get there.
Okay,
trust me.
Cool. Brian, since you're talking, what are your thoughts about all the layoffs?
It's really upsetting that it's so much, because there's always been layoffs like in every single year, but I don't think it's ever been to this scale before, and it's shocking that, again, Jeff Keighley doesn't want to say anything about it, or anyone on that show, which is like, hey, the people that are making the thing that you are here to celebrate, you're not even going to talk about it, you know? Yeah. But yet, last year he went on and talked about the whole Activision controversy thing, but yet people getting fired, nothing. It's just a bit odd to me. And I don't know, it's not setting a good look in the grand scheme of things, because then it means that people that are trying to have the idea of getting into games development, they'll be put off by this, because they're seeing jobs just evaporate. And then the people that are there now going through this, they're also just being handed a massive downer, seeing people that they become friends with just lose their jobs in like a couple of days. And sometimes it's just really awful. And especially when it happens to companies like Epic and whatnot that report so much success. It's like, oh yeah, we've made X amount of money like the last couple of years, blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, we now have to let go of 10% of our workforce or something. And it's just kind of like, how's that happen? You know, like, this makes no sense. Like, how on earth can you report record profits and yet you have to lay off people? Like, surely it should be the other way around. Like, profits go up, people go up. No? So it's not good. It's not good at all. But at the same time, hopefully these people find their feet and turn indies, because again, indie devs seem to be holding it down. So maybe this is good for Devolver Digital in the long run.
Yeah. By the way, I want to talk about that. That's the thing that grinds my gears, and not just with the video game industry, with all industries. Right? You had a lot of industries reporting record profits, then they turn around and lay people off. You know what I'm saying? Wait. If you have record profits, you should be able to pay these motherfuckers. But obviously,
it's probably record profits because of the amount of people they fucking fired.
Well, yeah, right. It's fucking insane, man. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on the layoffs they want to share? All right. We'll move on to Carlos. What is the story you want to talk about?
I just want to mention how this has been by far, and not even close, I think most of us will agree, or all of us will agree, by far the best year in gaming in years. Maybe, I don't know, since what, 2018?
2018, yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. We got a lot of games this year. I feel like the stars aligned this year, and hopefully we get something next year as well. But we got Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate, Remnant 2,
Redfall. Good or bad, they still came out. Shit, no, good or bad, shit still came out. At least it came out.
Armored Core. We got Super Mario Bros. We got
Zelda.
We got Tears of the Kingdom. We got Spider-Man.
Baldur's Gate.
Yep. So we got so many games this year, and it feels like this is the first year, especially off of this generation, but in particular off the last couple of years. This is the first time we're actually able to talk about video games. Obviously, there was some bullshit that we had to talk about as well, but if we had to, we could talk just video games for a great part of the year, and It makes me happy, man. We got the Dead Space remake. We got Alan Wake 2. We got Resident Evil 4 remake. All of them were good, liked by the fans and by the critics. So it's just this was, I'm thinking the best year since 2017.
Dude, I have a backlog.
Yeah. Remnant 2.
Yes.
Remnant 2, I was still playing that.
Sea of Stars, shout out to Rich.
I agree with Adam. Fucking those guys deserve as much recognition as they can possibly get. Remember, they released their game for $50 because they weren't doing a physical copy. Instead of 70, instead of raising it to 70, they dropped it to 50. Those are good guys.
Yep.
Yeah, the drought is over. At least for this year, it was. I mean, we heard it for the past 2 years. We kept hearing, "Oh, next year." Well, it just like they unloaded the bag. They just dumped it all on the floor.
Logic Wins mentions Hogwarts Legacy. Yep, that was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
What a year that we forget shit like that.
And then obviously Hi-Fi Rush. I hit early, Gotham Knights. I don't know about that, Adam.
No, I'm not saying they're good. The game came out though, good or bad. These games came out. Look, Skull and Bones is still might be coming out soon, right? That was they had a release date now. But
we got
RBJ in the building.
Shout out to RBJ. We also got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and its 3-minute campaign as well. Like we got.
Oh, don't say that to the developers.
That's 2.0.
Yeah,
2.0.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16.
Mortal
Kombat 1. There were some games dropping this year, people. It was good. Yeah. Damn, I forgot what I was going to say. Starfield. It came out.
There's so many things that came out this year. It's crazy.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. It's also notable that this was the year when at least the first-party games stopped being on last-gen systems, for the most part. There's still a couple of stragglers here or there, but for the most part, we finally moved on, with the first parties. I know some third parties still did that cross-gen bullshit. Very good in that sense as well. I'm worried that next year we'll go back to being dry again, because remember...
definitely.
Yeah, but at least we had 2023, man. At least we had 2023.
We got 2025. It's a gap of a year is better than a gap of 4 or 5 years that we had before. So there seems to be several big things coming in 2025.
Yeah,
so
a big one for sure.
Unless it gets delayed.
Yeah, right. Which it probably will.
Yeah. I don't think that Monster Hunter will get delayed.
Hey,
What, there's another game?
That's really all I care about.
Yeah. Now, there is another one which we probably will talk about later,
Yeah. So, Monster Hunter, who knows? That might get delayed. The other one, I think, will definitely get delayed.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Game of the Year? Or Games of the Year, I should say.
The Games of the Year?
Yeah. All right, actually, perfect segue. I know, Brett, you specifically wanted to highlight one game that dominated everything this fucking year.
Oh.
Dude, and all the fucking drama that came with it. Holy shit. Baldur's Gate, I haven't seen developers arguing this much amongst each other since the release of Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah, the pettiness.
Oh, my God. So we got a game from Larian Studios that Brian and I both knew it was going to be hot dopeness, but I don't think either of us foresaw the critical success this thing ended up having. So even the people watching, this thing just swept out of left field and just took Game of the Year, not just in a lot of people's minds, but fucking swept the awards. And this caused a lot of people to go into complete fucking panic, and developers shit themselves about how this cannot be the new high standard of what games are, because it needs to be recognized as an outsider thing. And all of the things that highlight, all of the bad business practices and corruption and stuff like that. And to put it on head, I actually wanted to bring this up in the show, and this is a great point. What the head guy of Larian wanted to say up on stage, but didn't get the time because he was wrapping up. And I find this almost suspicious, because this shit would have started a fire. If you said this shit at the Game Awards, shit would have been weird. Okay, so here we go. Quote, I want to end with a conversation I had a long time ago with a publisher. He told me, luckily for them, games are driven by idealism. He meant it in an exploitive way, but he was right. Games are a unique art form, as important as books, movies, or music. Many developers, myself included, make games because they love seeing others engage with their creations in a way only games can offer. They don't care much about the money being made beyond it being the fuel they need to create new and better games. It's worth reminding everyone that fuel is a means, not a goal, whereas where to and how we journey to that are what matter and what we remember.
So what's your takeaway about that quote?
So just first of all, like the fact that he was talking to a developer and he was saying that like gamers are driven by idealism, right? Like that to me is actually kind of powerful because it does kind of show like the publishers, the people who make these games, they know that gamers like to jump on the hype train and glass half full and say this is my favorite. My favorite IP, and so like I'm gonna really try and like it. Like the idealism that games can be good and fun is something that they're exploiting, and isn't just noticed or thought of by us, but it's noted by other developers, by people who see that this is a publisher's opinion, right? A publisher's opinion, and I think that I agree with him that to make games as a passion and let that passion lead and let the money be the thing that follows is the reason that Baldur's Gate came out so well. But it's also the reason that so many people shit their pants. Right? Like why if you're just looking at the bottom line and a dollar amount, why would you put things in a game that you don't need to? Why would you put Easter eggs in a game that people can't find? Why would you spend money on things that are not for mass appeal or going to make you more money? And the fact that this is a new concept or a strange concept or a concept to be fought in today's industry is kind of fucked up. So, like, I feel like this game exposed kind of the same way Elden Ring did when developers were like, oh, you have to handhold people. You can't give them freedom. Otherwise, they may not see some of the content that we make. It really exposed some of the shitty business practices and ideas in game development. And I think that's the reason it sparked so much backlash amongst developers. And then to see that kind of steamrolled and then it sweep the Game Awards, I feel like we're seeing something dynamic that could help shape the way games are created in the future in a real and impactful way. And I thought that's why it was worth bringing up.
Yeah, but but beyond that, it's just the genuine enthusiasm that the gaming community showed for this title. We need to understand that before this game, came out, everybody was like, "All right, Tears of the Kingdom's going to win Game of the Year. Like that's it, it's assured." When this fucking game dropped, Baldur's Gate 3, it was like, okay, that's getting it now. Right? Because it gave people something they've been missing this entire generation. Something that's like genuinely current gen and like highly customizable and shit. You could really do whatever you wanted in the game, and then all the memes that came out of it, just because the game's still customizable, you could really make it your own. Like there was like endless memes. There's still my timeline is still flooded with Baldur's Gate shit, and it's people actually enjoying games. They're not just playing this title out of obligation, It's like they're playing because it's really cool and word of mouth spreads and stuff. And that was something I was missing this generation. It was really cool to see that, and I agree with you guys. These guys deserve it. Larian is a great studio, And here's the thing: I don't entirely disagree that this game was an anomaly. There's a lot of things that happened that made this game click, right? But I also think it's a good way for other developers to be like, oh, let's try to do something like that. Listen, making games that people making games that are just fun should not be difficult. You know what I mean? It's like just try to think of the player, and maybe passionate about what you're doing.
It is a difficult thing.
No, it is difficult, but I mean, the concept of trying to make a game that's just fun should not be difficult. Not making a game. Yeah, go ahead.
When you talk about the thing that makes this, different, the thing that makes it kind of an oddity is that this game was developed for the player. But that just highlights that should be how games are developed. You should be focusing on the end goal of how much the player enjoys this, how much content can we give them, how can we create the best experience, not how much money can we make. And like, I think, yes,
that's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah,
because most games are made with how much money can we make, and that's why it's so rare. Like, to me, it's very weird when people are like, you can't expect every game to be this good because they have different agendas. I'm like, yeah, their agenda is making money, and I can't expect every game to want to be a good game instead of making money. But everybody seems so perplexed and dumbfounded, like, but this game is only so good because they wanted it to be good instead of making money. Yeah! Why is this such a weird concept to everybody? Develop, like, the entire industry.
I mean, there's always a thing that you have to leverage. Now, the thing about it is that, like, if this, and let's say, for the sake of conversation, let's say this game didn't hit, because there is a chance that it couldn't have. You know, there are plenty of games that are out there that have had very ambitious things. They're very fun for players, but they never were able to hit that thing. And not to mention, and it is part of a franchise that is a kind of a well-known franchise too. So, I mean,
to be fair though, the last Baldur's Gate came out a very long time ago. Like, modern gamers,
no. I know where Manny's going.
But it is still within the zeitgeist of properties. It's not a out of nowhere property. They pretty much did what they essentially took one of those older games and essentially modernized it.
But here's the thing, Manny.
You know, obviously it's great.
Here's the thing. They were prepared for it not to be like, if it weren't as much of a success, it still would have been okay. They were prepared for it to be 10% as successful as it was, and that would have still been a monetary fine. That would have been a successful financially successful game to them. Like, that's what they were prepared for. They got 10 times that. So, like, I agree. Don't go over and, like, over budget yourself. Don't put it all on the line and make your game go broke trying to find, like, this creative passion. But I don't think they overextended themselves on this one.
Yeah, and I also,
they've already had previous times with essentially this game is essentially the things that they learned from making those other games.
That's what I wanted to bring up, Benny. I honestly don't believe the Baldur's Gate thing was the thing. It's the Larian thing that helped them out. You know.
It's the Larian thing, and I also think, I mean, obviously, just like Demon Souls and those games, it's like their sort of evolution of the things that they had done before.
Yeah.
But I also think that the thing about it is that would one of their previous titles have hit this big if this game wasn't a Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate.
That does help, obviously, you know. And then the memes, just the fact that the game's just memeable and fun, player first, you know, that it all helped out. There was a lot. The stars aligned perfectly for this game, so that's why I do agree that this is an oddity in that sense, you know. And they capitalized on it, and you know, they gave the fans what they wanted in the end. You have the fucking lead guy wearing armor. That's cool. You know, that type of stuff is fun. You don't really see that because, again, let's just be honest, man. A lot of games are just made purely for money, right? You think Sony is making fucking 10 live service games because they're passionate about that? No, they wanted another Fortnite. Oh. You know, they're not doing that for artistic expression. They just want to make fucking money, you know? Same thing. Adam, I'm sorry. That's why Call of Duty exists. These soulless Call of Duty games, because they know motherfuckers are going to buy them. They're not doing that out of passion. You know, that's just how it is for most games. So seeing something like this where people are genuinely stoked about it, that's rare. And that's sad that that's fucking rare, you know? So, yeah, shout out to Baldur's Gate and shout out to Larian, man. Good stuff.
Shout out to developing games the right way.
Yeah, that was a triumph this fucking year.
For it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
I have a question for Brett.
Hey,
Brett, I started the game this weekend. I played like an hour or so of it, and I just want to ask you your biggest piece of advice, broad advice about playing the game going forward.
This motherfucker.
Don't be afraid to fail. Some of the best moments in the game, narratively and contextually, like don't save scum. Like failing things is just as entertaining as succeeding in things. Just take the consequences and roll with it. You can play through subsequent playthroughs as like, I know a lot of people are of the mindset of like, oh, I want to have my perfect game. Like, sometimes failing that skill check makes for a better game. And not in every game, but Larian designed this game in a way that, like, just because you may not be able to convince this guy in a persuasion check of something, you may end up getting something funnier and better because of that than if you had just been like, no, I'm just going to load this shit until I succeed at this persuasion. So just roll with your failures and your consequences. It's an experience.
That's interesting because, like, you bring up a good point. Like, most games, if you fail something like that, there's really hardly any upside to failing. It's like you fail, like, there's really... You don't get anything. Even the downside stuff is just not even that satisfying.
Yo, by the way, Carlos, J Shep is offering the opposite advice. He says, advice. I would advise save your game a lot. Failing some skill checks to get you killed.
Oh.
I mean, definitely save your game a lot, but don't save scum.
Yeah, there is a difference. There is a difference there. By the way, Brett, when you said roll with it, was that a pun?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, roll with it.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome, man. They have dice rolls in the game, man. That's cool. That's cool stuff, you know? All right, let's move on here. Adam, what's
I actually have a
what's
quick
up?
question,
Okay, yeah.
and this actually relates.
Whoa.
Brett, how do you think the perception of Baldur's Gate 3 will be now that it's won a lot of Game of the Year awards? And this is considering that developers were very annoyed at the idea that Baldur's Gate 3 should be the standard. And now that we've seen Baldur's Gate 3 win quite a lot of awards, do you think that will change perception in any way?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah, they're going to shut the fuck up about it now because, like, do you really want to come out and be and tell people that that's not the thing to aim for? Like, they can say whatever they want. Now their boss is being like, we should do some stuff like this Baldur's Gate game. And it puts them in their fucking place. Like, I think that this definitely helped legitimize it, but I also don't think that these people will recognize what the secret sauce is. They won't recognize that
Knights.
Yeah.
That's the secret sauce. It's knights. Medieval elves. It's armor.
It's doing all of your conferences.
It was the Dead Souls, whatever. Wasn't that the whole thing? You had armor. You were a knight traveling around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Baldur's Gate? All right. Moving on. Adam, what's the story you want to talk about?
Just with EA dropping the FIFA connection and just calling it FC, making their own shit, and all the controversy and confusion it caused in the world of football, because that's all I kept seeing. I was like, oh man, FC, EA, I'll just wait till another FIFA comes out. It's FIFA. It was just horrible that they couldn't really get that message across, that they had disconnect their partnership, but with FIFA, the organization. And I think it's mainly because such a younger audience don't even know that there's another organization. They see FIFA and they're like, well, that's the game. That's just the game of the game. What do you mean it's a different name and that's a different company? No, that's the name of the game. And there was a lot of problems, and even now it still causes problems. I see it all the time where whenever they do another update, and they post a video on YouTube, oh, we got a new update, this and that. And I don't know if they're just trolling people, like, well, when's the next FIFA coming? You know, like, why do we have to do this FC? I just like my FIFA. This is a game. This is a game. So it's a big deal. Because think about FIFA, it's been around since Nintendo, right? Like, we've had FIFA games. EA, as long as they've been making their soccer games, they've had the FIFA brand. And then to just say, yeah, Coulter, we're just going to cut it. They really should have spent a year prepping people, letting them know we're changing the name. It's not no longer going to be FIFA. But they didn't. They just released it like normal. They did the ads and all that stuff. And then it hurt financially in the sales for the first few months. And it's because of that. People were confused. So to me, that was the big gaming story.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I guess you kind of answered Jay Shep's question. He goes, did sales drop after the name change?
Oh yeah. It's physical sales, the digital not so much, and then people could argue, well, everyone's going digital and stuff, but it really people were just walking into the store, whether it was Target, Walmart, and looking for the next FIFA game, and then they see this FC, and they're like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I need more research. The casuals. If you're into the series, you're gonna find it. You know it. You don't need anyone telling you. But for those who just pick it up every once in a while, oh yeah, I want to pick up my new FIFA game. It's not there. It's as if the Call of Duty changed their name to something else. You know, from Call of Duty to, I don't know, Hero Shooter or Bro Shoot, whatever the hell we want to call it. And unless you're already in the realm of the game, then you know. But if you don't, then it's a game changer. And they really underestimated that a lot of people just wouldn't figure the shit out.
Yeah, because I mean that's like an iconic name, FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. Even now, and I said it in my review, I'm like, the hardest part of this transition is getting people, and myself included, to stop calling it FIFA. You know, when I talked to my brother, and we told him, like, oh, in FIFA I did it, we still just keep saying it. It's hard to just say no. It's FC. It doesn't flow yet. It's going to take a long time because it's always been FIFA.
Just like Twitter will always be Twitter. It ain't X.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Listen, the Twitter will change as soon as they change their URL. It still says fucking. It still Twitter says Twitter. It, so. Yeah.
Hilarious, man. Anybody else have any thoughts on FIFA? Because I sure don't.
I'll agree with Adam on this because the marketing for this new game, even though it's the same game, is kind of off. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like EA could have done a better transition to the new game or to the new title.
Yeah, and not even this is the worst part. They pulled all their other FIFA games. Like shortly after, like a month after that, it's like they're all gone, and that really confused people because, like, shit. Well, I wanted to play the other. No, you can't. It's done.
You know what they should have did, right? The last FIFA game, they should have put the name of the future game underneath it.
Yes, that would have been would have been better.
Like kind of like how like they did, was it Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then the games became like.
Oh, that's another one. I hate that. Mm-hmm. Why can't they just be original and come up with a different name? Don't name it the name of another series. Because now it's really confusing. Because the Yakuza Like a Dragon with Ichiban and all that, that's its own thing. But now you're calling everything, like a dragon.
The whole franchise is called Like a Dragon in Japan.
Yeah.
So like they're literally.
Oh, it was always called that?
It was always called that, yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Well, here it wasn't, and it's confused. See, there you go. Now I'm the confused one.
That's why they did it. The last one they did was like Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then they just got rid of the Yakuza part because that was a name that was forced on them through localization, and then they could call it what they originally wanted to call it.
Yeah, it's always been called Like a Dragon over
there. Oh, all right. See?
It's like Resident Evil and Biohazard.
Yeah.
I still find that really funny that the seventh one they just flipped the names. It's like
Resident Evil, Resident Evil 6, it was like Biohazard, Resident Evil, yeah.
That's fun. All right, Brian, your turn. What's a story you thought was big this year?
Oh man, it's a story that for the most part, it wasn't even on my radar until it happened. A game called The Day Before.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, this like it first started out as a cool idea where we all seen that trailer, I think like 2 years ago. It was pre-rendered. The guy, it looked like the Division. Like, the guy going through the building, the zombies. It's like, okay, it looks cool. Maybe
running into an elevator and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It all looked nice. Weather effects looked very next gen. It's like, okay, cool. This is interesting. And then it's like, okay, it's a developer that no one knows about. So it's like, okay, it's a bit of no one knows. And then the days went on, the years went on, developers were quiet, and then there were rumblings that, the game's fake, it's scam, etc., etc. And then just more silence, and then they release more and more stuff, and then the game just kind of looks a bit downgraded over time, just kind of looks a bit weird. And then people are still saying, the game's a scam, the game's not real, but some saying, okay, just wait until it comes out. And then, again, the ball just keeps going, and then it finally releases in December, I think December 7th, I want to say, or 6th.
Like last week, huh?
early December. Yeah, so the game comes out, and just a giant mess of a game. It looks barely finished at all. The thing just doesn't even work properly. It has bugs galore, looks awful, runs awful, plays awful. Somehow it's so much worse than the footage that they shown 2 years ago, which leads me to believe that the footage that they shown 2 years ago was all just fake anyway. So it's like, oh, this is awful. And then developers come out and say, oh, we're sorry, we'll fix it over the next couple coming days, just please bear with us. And at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? They released a game. It wasn't as good looking and good working as it has been shown. I can somehow let that slide because they're willing to fix it. And then the bomb just drops. They'd say, okay, you know what, we're now shutting down the studio. It's like, what?
4 days after launch, by the way. 4 days.
Early access, though. It wasn't official. It was just early access, so they didn't make a lot of money from it.
Oh, that's even worse, Adam.
Yeah. It is. It's worse. Well, yeah, that's sad.
And then somehow it gets worse, because then they say, okay, you know what, let's just remove everything. So it got removed from Steam, so it's delisted. They removed all the media from YouTube, so the channel is now just gone.
Well, Brian, you're missing the bigger part.
They even removed their LinkedIn.
Wow!
It's like they just Thanos snapped themselves out of existence, and it's just like, wow.
Remember what caused even more delay before this is that they never put a copyright on their name. Remember? So somebody just swooped in and picked up their name and put a copyright after they announced it. So then we're suing them and saying, hey, you owe me money. So then when there was all these delays of like, hey, you're not talking about the game stuff. Yeah, we're dealing with legal battles right now because they got delisted because they no longer owned the name. They eventually won it back. And they're like, yeah, the game's still coming. And then we got this shit. So
many things. And one of the most obvious ones that people kind of missed is how they literally took the Last of Us 2 box art and they used that as the basis for their game.
Oh my god, that's right.
Exactly, Tony. Now you see it. It even has the same font, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is... So I guess the signs were there the whole time, but man, it's just... It's fascinating. It really is how the studio just came and then just went, and now it never existed. And it's just like... Is this kind of like what we have to look forward to now? Just more games that aren't real.
More games that will be abandoned, Brian.
I was tempted not to make that pun, Tony, but I knew someone would.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just I don't know. Like on the one hand, it's just kind of funny that this thing even happened. I mean, take a step back and look at what has happened. It's amazing that this has happened in this time frame. I mean, the people that made King Kong and the Gollum game, they still exist. Yet this game, developers are gone. Like they don't exist anymore. It's fascinating. But at the same time, it's like how did they do it? Like it was one of the most wishlisted games on Steam for a while, and it's like.
Well, that was it. The developers were coming out that used to work there, and they're like, yeah, they're trying, but I'm telling you, what you see is not what you're going to get. They just can't do it. They can't do it. So, yeah, maybe that whole demo was fake. We don't know. That still hasn't come out yet. But it's sad. It's really sad with all the problems. And then once they fought and won their name back, I'm like, all right, they're putting money into this. They're trying to get their name back. They really have high hopes for this because they could have just scrapped it at that point, or they could have changed the name. But no, they fought it. And they're like, no, don't worry, it's coming. They released another gameplay video. It wasn't great, but hey, they were releasing something. They showed the inventory system. They showed a shopkeeper running around the world and stuff. It's like, all right, it doesn't look too bad. And then it comes out and it's like, oh wow, this is just an extraction game. This is like a wannabe, really dumbed down version of Dead Rising. That's not the way they advertised it. And it was horrible, and so there goes that. It's gone.
Rich says the day before the shutdown.
Right, they should make that game.
That's crazy. So, yeah, such a wild story, man. I've never heard of anything like that happening. Fucking insane, All right, Chris, what you got for us, man? What's a story that you thought was big this year?
I mean, I think the biggest story, and I think it's the biggest story of the year, is the Throwdown Show. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean, I think it's the biggest story of the year. I mean
Well, to me, I mean, we're just with all the only positive story was the titles we got, but everything else is a downer. To have another one, I mean, and it's related to what Manny was talking about with the layoffs. Just look at the downfall of Embracer Group.
Oh shit!
And all the shit that has been going on with them. I mean, you could look at Volition by itself and the failure of Saints Row, and then how that they were shuttered after all these years. They were shuttered, but then the Free Radical, the guys who made Time Splitters, they were shuttered. Embracer has just been shuttering studios and laying off people like nonstop. And the consolidation into Gearbox didn't help because they started laying off people. So it has just been one L after another for them, where they were also riding high, purchasing stuff, and then COVID happened, and they were riding high off that, and now it's just collapsing. Like, just they had closures. That's not even all the studios. I think there's like 4 or 5 they closed down by themselves. Not to mention the vast number of layoffs. They're second to Unity. Like Unity had a lot. I forgot the number Manny mentioned, but they're behind them, right? With the sheer number of people that have been laid off or consolidated and then let go, right? But it's still they're losing their jobs, and just it's a massive failure on their part because they grew too fast, acquired too much stuff, and then we're hoping that they would still amass the same profit margin that they did from 2019 to 2020, and everything has collapsed. So they are now shedding people and IPs by the boatload, and it's ridiculous how that all has just and they're not done collapsing. I don't think that the next year looks good for them either. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't embrace it. Yeah, because they were growing so much, right? Especially during the pandemic, and then womp womp.
I mean, between 2018 and 2019, they bought almost or maybe more than 100 studios, right?
Shit. Yeah, they were gobbling up everybody,
Yeah.
They pretty much bought THQ,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting. Everyone's all worried about Microsoft gobbling up everybody, even though they're just doing it one studio at a time. These motherfuckers were gobbling up hundreds, and no one talks about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Really, and I wouldn't even worry about them as much as like Tencent and ByteDance and China, essentially. Gobbling up way more than Microsoft. So it's like, I would worry about them. Everybody's like, well, Microsoft. No, fuck that. I'm worried about Tencent and ByteDance buying up studios.
Fucking communist companies, man. It's crazy. All right. Does anybody else have any other stories I want to bring up? I had another one. Got another one.
Tony, for some reason, I have a feeling that you have the same one, but I'll mention it.
Oh, you go ahead then.
Jimbo's retiring.
Yeah, that's not it though, but that is a good one.
Yeah. So I mean, after several years of being the CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan's about to retire because apparently the role of having to do all this stuff to fly into different countries multiple times a week has been a strain, which makes sense.
Makes sense. He's old.
He's getting up there. But it's an end of a legacy, and I just find it interesting. I think most of us, if not all of us, feel like it's a positive thing that he's not going to be here anymore.
We've been against this guy for many, many years. We're not fans of Jim Ryan on Throwdown.
Not too fond of the old Jimbo here. And I just found a lot of PlayStation fans actually thought the same way. Maybe now they can actually voice their opinions without the fearing like they're taking a loss for the plastic PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big shift. There's going to be an interim CEO, but the start early 2024. But we'll see who's going to take over the reins, and hopefully it's a positive direction for PlayStation.
Yeah, hopefully.
And I will mention this. 2023 was a great year for games. PlayStation, man, the Spider-Man 2 and was it Gran Turismo was the other one, and pretty much it was been quiet the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
Is an exclusive, but it's not a PlayStation game.
I just want to point out how Carl did a fantastic Carlism there. Take over the reins.
Take away, yeah. Oh man.
Wait, what did I say? I don't even remember.
Take over the reins.
Yeah, take over the reins. That's the saying, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's also like a really good pun as well. You know, take over the reins.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. I just caught up. I'm catching up.
Oh man, I forgot.
Rich says Gran Turismo movie still counts too.
Yeah. That's
best adaptation ever.
Yeah. The other backup story I have, and I'm surprised no one brought it up because this was the fucking Megaton. A Megaton that garnered 147 million views on YouTube in 10 days.
Oh yeah.
You already know, man. The trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. That shit hit, but you already knew that was going to happen. But of course, the interesting story with this trailer was Rockstar says, yo, this trailer's coming. Then they got fucking leaked, and they're like, all right, here you go. You know?
I mean, this is on the down low this year has also been a ransomware leaking year. I mean, just recently, a Naughty Dog got what is it? Naughty Dog?
Oh, yeah.
Or was it
Insomniac?
Insomniac.
Yeah.
Insomniac got a ransomware.
Yeah, and apparently some Wolverine shit leaked.
Oh shit! Yep.
Oh man,
some footage and some screenshots.
Yeah, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto. It's pretty much what we expect, but there's obviously some concerns because remember we've heard that they want to make the single player stuff more episodic. And then obviously we're concerned that they're just gonna really, really, really focus on the online stuff and just abandon the single player stuff. Not abandon, but just it'll make it secondary. So that's an issue. But for the most part, people were celebrating. They're getting another Grand Theft Auto after fucking 10 years. I'm not exaggerating. Over 10 years.
It's gonna be pretty much 12 years when it
will be 12 years. Yeah,
comes out of 2025.
Yep. So, but that was huge. Go ahead.
So Tony, I asked this on the show before the game was announced.
Yeah.
Before the trailer was shown because it was announced a little bit before.
Yeah.
I asked, is there a game that has as much cultural impact as GTA? We mentioned Mario, I mentioned Fortnite.
Yeah.
But after what we saw with this, nothing fucks with GTA.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, within gaming, obviously Mario is very important, but no Mario trailer is going to garner that many fucking views.
100 million, man, in a fucking day.
Yeah, in a day.
Unfortunately, they're just going to use this to justify a price hike in the game. Like, you guys hear about the...
I heard the $100, right, Brett?
The $100,
yeah.
No, the hourly. Like, there was something about... And I forget who it was in Rockstar, but they were talking about how they need to view games at, like, how much money gamers are spending in an hourly rate kind of thing. Like, the value of entertainment compared to dollars. Like, give me a second. I'll see if I can find this.
Yeah, because I'm confused by that. How much money they're spending on an hourly rate? Don't you mean how many hours they're putting into it in general, and see how much they can monetize that? Is that what you mean?
Basically, that's the long and short of it. Yeah, I'm not.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that. That's here's the thing. I wouldn't put it past a lot of these companies thinking that, like, how much money can we squeeze out of these fucking people? But yeah, no, GTA. That's make a ton for sure.
You man, my shot card's gonna transfer over.
Yeah. Manny, do you have a secondary one?
Here we go.
Okay, Brett, you first. Yeah.
Take-Two has reached out once. There was a correction.
Maybe they're like, oh, we didn't say that after all.
Yeah. Go ahead, Manny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Manny, you have a secondary one?
No. I mean, the other than the hacks that have happened toward the year. That was my second.
All right, Brett, I want to talk about your secondary, the Game Awards, that controversy.
Oh God. Okay. Before we get into that, I did find the quote here.
Okay, go ahead.
Quote: In terms of pricing for any entertainment property, basically the algorithm is the value of the expected entertainment usage, which is to say that the per hour value times the number of expected hours plus the terminal value that's perceived by the customer in ownership if the title is owned or subscribed to. And you'll see that bears out in every kind of entertainment vehicle. Like, he's basically saying we should price things based off of how many hours of entertainment you get from it. And that's from Take-Two. So, yeah.
That's wild. But yeah, go ahead, man. What your secondary one about the Game Awards?
Oh, the Game Awards. Like, bro, the entire industry seems to be backlashing against this shit, against the whole, like, wrap it up shit. It feels like the shit that Throwdown has been yelling about for, like, years and years.
Ever since it was on fucking Spike, we've been saying.
Manny, you gotta wrap it up. Manny, you gotta wrap it up.
You're talking too much.
Gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No. Exactly. No.
We've been talking very much. I'd like to thank you for this award.
We've been complaining about this since the Spike TV days. You know, like they give no time for these fucking actually they gave no time to the actual awards at the award show. You know what I mean? But then you give Kojima 10 fucking minutes to talk about some game we're probably going to see for years. You know, it's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like they said his thing was about 6 minutes long. So it was just under what
Christopher Judge.
You know, Christopher Judge.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even he specifically put that amount of time for Kojima to talk about nothing.
Yeah, but think about it, right? Kojima going on there for 6 minutes. Meanwhile, Larian, Game of the Year winners, wrap it up, B, wrap it up. This is fucking insane, you know? And then, what was it, Aonuma and shit, the Breath of the Wild guy? My man needs a translator. Yep. Wrap it up. Like he's got to.
They should have. Yeah. Jeff should have called the friggin' desk, and he said they said they can control it. They should have gave him just enough more time so that the translator and he could say what they needed to say. But nope, wrap it up, B.
Wrap it up.
Sam Lake is showing his heart out. Wrap it up, B.
Yep. Wrap it up.
Yeah, the whole Larry, like they were literally saying that, like. We'd like to thank the people who died in development. They're like, hurry up.
It's fucking insane. And again, the guy wanted to announce, like, hey, the game's now available on Xbox. Wrap it up. You know? It's fucking insane. Hey, we want to thank the players. We made this game for them. Wrap it up. You know?
You know what they
give more time to thanking Kojima.
Yeah. Next year, what they should do is, you know how like you can record something on your phone, a memo, and then speed it up. That's what they'll do. You just put it on the microphone. Thank you, and that's it. Slow it down when you get the chance.
Yeah. No. So I think that I am happy that the industry finally there was a backlash towards the Game Awards, because again we've been saying this shit forever about this fucking shit. You know.
I feel like like Morpheus, right? You know, when they finally figure out the Matrix isn't what it is. Now everybody took, what was it, the red pill? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody took the red. Finally, people took the red pill and got to see what the reality of all of this is. We've been saying it for years. What is it? An advertisement block with award show interruptions. And you could see there's literally a chart on IGN that shows you how much is trailers and reveals and commercials and how much of it is actual award show. What is it, 18%?
Jesus. That is insane, man. Wild. All right. Adam, do you have another one you want to bring up?
No. You guys brought it up. I had the Microsoft one because that was crazy and it's still long going. So, but no, that's it.
All right, Brian, you have another one?
Yes, I do. Once again, it's quite recent. It's the death of E3 officially.
Yes, yeah, that's a big one.
By the way, we have like at least 3 Death of E3 featured images.
Now it's finally happened for real
for this year.
Yeah.
By the way.
I guess Jeff completed his mission. E3 is now dead. ESA is disbanded.
Yeah,
he completed his vision.
Yeah, E3 just went to Twitter. You know, they did the standard, text, on the background saying, "Yeah, we're done. Thanks for the memories." That was it.
Yeah, I mean,
they thought they were bigger than the industry. That was their problem.
Yeah, this is something we've been predicting for years too. Like we knew this was coming. At E3,
it was going to come.
Yeah, but you're right. The ESA, they're the ones that really killed it in the end. Like overcharging these publishers, and showcase people to have show floor space. And now Jeff Keighley's going to be like, what about Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, what about Summer Game Fest?
So that'll be the new E3 now, effectively, because there is no more E3. What a shame, E3's been around since 1995, the biggest showcase for games in the world. But obviously, in the new age, they couldn't adapt. They were still trying to, do what they have always done. But it's like you can't keep charging companies all this money when they could literally go, fuck it, we're gonna do our own live stream, or we're gonna get our own venue. Like EA did, like Nintendo did, or not Nintendo, like EA and fucking other companies did. It's like, even though Nintendo did leave E3 because they don't need them, like, we're going to do our own live stream. Fuck it.
They were the first to leave E3.
First one. And it worked out very well for them with the Nintendo Directs. Then Microsoft, like, oh, we're going to have our own shit down the street. And then Sony just like, fuck it, we're done too. And that really killed shit. That was like the ghost year, 2019. You went that year, Manny. Nobody was there,
Yep. That was the year that I was the game that I worked on came out. So I was at E3, and it just seemed like all the life just got sucked out of it. And then 3 years of a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's it. Done.
So yeah, E3, sayonara. Chris, you got to.
They really needed to grow with the industry. Like
they couldn't adapt.
You telling me? Like, yeah, they didn't want to adapt, and they literally have multiple examples of video game related shows around the world that have done fan shows and have done industry shows, and they weren't looking at any of it, and they wait till now to go to fucking what are those guys, ReedPop, when they really should have gone like with them years ago.
Yeah.
Because they run fucking PAX and they do a pretty damn good job of it, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Crazy. All right, Chris, you got another one you want to bring up?
Yeah, I guess to add insult to injury, after all the layoffs, then Unity came up with their pricing policy change, which would have charged developers per install a certain percentage of the price of the game, and the backlash from that was tremendous. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like that, saying that you'd have the ability to track installs and then charge charge developers per install on top of the licensing fees they're paying already was insane. And then there was plenty of guys saying, well, I guess we're not going to use Unity. There was people, there was studios too deep into using it, would have to publish with it anyway, and they were freaking out. And the backlash got so bad that Unity CEO had to step down. It was a boneheaded move. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe like that even not just was suggested internally, because business people always suggest stupid shit internally, but that it made it to that point where they're like, yeah, we're doing this, and then they just go announce it on Twitter like, yeah, this is happening, this is what we're doing now.
I think if you in a group hated a developer or a game, it's like, you know what, let's kill them. All right, everybody, download and uninstall for a whole month, and then that's it.
Oh yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. What happened, right? A lot of companies essentially were withholding their subscriptions or canceling them, And even then, like even after they switched. Oh, by the way, let me also add the CEO of Unity during the time they made this wonderfully brilliant decision. EA guy worked at EA during the time when they got voted the worst company in the United States. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Riccatello, yeah.
Yep, that guy.
That shit is crazy, man. What's up?
I also love how there was a game, I don't remember the studio, but they, like, when this news got announced, they turned and said, okay, after this date, we will no longer be selling our game, so buy it now, because we will delist it because we're not paying it. And I was like, that's some major conviction right there.
That's some wild shit, man. What a crazy year.
It was some Devolver Digital studio, but it was just wild that even... Honestly, in what sane world was that a good idea? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All right, let's move on to the games we liked this year, people. So we'll do our usual top 3 games, personal, nothing official, just our personal picks. I'll start first. Should I go in order or just random? Because people hate when I don't go in order. I want to piss some people off.
I mean, you can go in order. Why not?
Yeah. Let's see. So my number 1, surprising to me, because I was like, Spider-Man 2 is a shoo-in for Game of the Year for me, right? But no, it's actually Final Fantasy 16, man. I loved how it really stuck to its guns of being so fucking dark and grim. It's like, because the game director literally told everybody in the studio, "Yo, watch all the Game of Thrones. We're doing that." And it was great. It was really cool to see like a mature Final Fantasy game and shit. Like really cool. I enjoyed the combat, but the thing that disappointed me with the game was that the RPG stuff was pretty much gone. It was just basically an action game, going down like tight corridors and shit. It's like if they would have gave me more exploration within the dungeons, I would have been happier. But the story was so well done and the tone was so consistent. They didn't start throwing crazy shit in there. I mean, they still had some little goofy stuff because it's still Final Fantasy. And the ending was good. That's why I'm curious about the DLCs. I'm like, what's going to happen here? But yeah, so Final Fantasy, number 1. Number 2 is actually Spider-Man. Even though there's some stuff that I'm not going to get into that bothers me about it. The gameplay is still fun. Fucking New York looks amazing in that game. Pun intended with the amazing part. Like it's really like stellar stuff. Like, you got part of Queens, you got part of Brooklyn there. But even Manhattan itself feels different than the first game. Like it just feels very, very, very different and stuff. New textures and all that. I like the flying mechanic, the gliding mechanic. That was really cool. And fighting is just as fun as ever. And Insomniac, they are gameplay masters. So game was a lot of fun. And then my number 3 is Street Fighter 6. Now this was a game I kind of. Here's the thing with me and Street Fighter, man. I noticed that I have a problem with the odd numbered games. The even number ones I'm good with. And I just realized that with this game, because after coming off of 5, which was a huge disappointment, I was like, oh man, I don't know about this shit, especially when they announced that World Tour mode. I was like, what? Running around in the 3D world, this is fucking retarded. Mortal Kombat pulled that shit of a few years ago and it was just bad, Boy, was I wrong. The World Tour mode is fun as fuck. It's basically 3D Final Fight. Run around Metro City, fucking dudes up. And the story was pretty decent too, So I enjoyed that a lot. Actually, I didn't actually play much of it outside of World Tour mode. Once I finished World Tour mode, I'm good, A lot of fun. So yeah, those are my top 3 games. Carlos, what you got?
So I will put the caveat for the future when people check this episode 10 years from now. I just started Baldur's Gate, I've only played like an hour and a half, so I haven't formulated a concrete opinion on the game because I haven't played that much. So it's not on the list. So I will start with number 3. This is tough because I played Street Fighter 6 as well, Tony.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But I think I'm going to go with Starfield.
Ooh, controversy.
That could have been one of the big stories of the year, by the way. Starfield itself,
Yeah. And then all the bullshit that came with the discourse. I'll go with Starfield. I mean, to be honest, I will say it is a little bit disappointing just when you think about it. After finishing the game, um, a lot of people love New Game Plus. I honestly wasn't. I like the concept, but I felt like it wasn't executed that well. Um, the game, everyone's mentioned sort of the faults of the game. We've talked about it ad nauseum in this show. It's it's vast, and there's a lot of planets, but in the planets that have sort of the huge cities aren't that well realized as even some of the Fallout big cities are. Except for Neon, like we mentioned, always Neon. I like Neon, so more. If we would have gotten more type Neon type cities, they didn't have to be cyberpunk, but just fully fleshed out, that would have been great. So that's Starfield for number 3. Number 2 is Spider-Man 2. I was a little bit like Tony. It seems like Spider-Man would have been just shoot in to be my number 1 game of the year by default if there wasn't like an Elden Ring or a God of War Ragnarok or a Monster Hunter World type game. But and there wasn't, but I felt like it was just a really, really, really good game. I wouldn't say this is like peak. I mean, and Spider-Man, the 2018, it might have been better than 2018, but 2018 wasn't my favorite game of that year. So I think actually Monster Hunter was the same year, Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man 2 was my number 2. The traversal is great. A lot of the skill stuff that they added was pretty good. The story is good. The side stories were kind of boring. Some of them. The cult one's really, really good.
Yeah.
The fire cult dudes. That's great stuff. That's number 2 and number 1. Tony, can you guess?
Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I've infamously played the entire game without a chocobo.
Yes, I still can't believe you pulled that off.
Yo, man, that's playing hard mode.
Yeah, right.
It definitely is because you have to walk a lot. The game has a lot of faults. I will admit, it has a lot of faults with just how narrow the game is. The world is. It's just corridor after corridor after corridor. It, like Tony mentioned, the RPG elements are pretty much stripped away from this franchise now, from this mainline franchise, and some people might not be too happy about it. But I will say this: the story is great. There's, you're really invested. You want to continue the story. You want to keep playing it to see what happens. And by far the best part of this game, it doesn't even come fucking close. I haven't been as hyped about anything gaming as those freaking boss battles in this freaking game.
Hype.
The music, they're the hypest things, and it's not just one; it's multiple freaking boss battles. It's so many boss battles that it just
the game starts with a boss battle.
it literally does start with a boss battle. It's so good, man. The music is incredible. When there's so many, and not only that, the bosses that you fight, you're invested into the characters and to their stories as well. So they did a great job, realizing these characters through this world and having you at least understand what they're doing. Yeah, man, it's this year. I mean, my game of the year last year was Elden Ring, and nothing this year comes remotely close. We'll see with Baldur's Gate after I beat it, but yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is my number 1. Shout out to Tears of the Kingdom, which I played 10-15 hours, and I just let it go. But it was a good game, so I want to just give it a shout out because I know Blitz is listening.
Yeah, I just had the Toy Story meme in my head of you going, I don't want to play with you anymore.
And Andy dropping footy.
You know?
Yeah, man.
All right, Manny, what you got? Favorite games of the year?
So I'm not gonna go from one to three. I'm just gonna go from 3 to 1. So number 3 is Thunder Ray, a nice little Punch Out like game that came out this year. Fun game. Never thought. I don't know what's going on, what's in the air right now, but there's a lot of like Punch Out esque type games coming out. And
it's on sale for $10 now. If anybody wants to get it.
Yeah, it's really cheap. It's a fun game, really short. It's just literally about this boxer. Like he was just so awesome. He got sucked into space into like a intergalactic like boxing matches with all these weird looking characters. So yeah, fun game. Number 2 is Spider-Man. He's the man with the plan.
He's the Spider-Man.
As you may have heard, I actually did get a PlayStation 5 finally. So that's what I did. So I bought Spider-Man. I bought
Spider-Man been one of our stories.
What was that?
That should have been one of our main stories of the year. It's like
Manny bought a PS5.
Manny finally gets into the next gen. Yeah, that was what I got it for. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, what do I play? Little side note, I actually did because PlayStation did gave the ability, if you pay an extra $12, you could go up to the premium thing. So I'm sort of checking it around. I only really have until January, early January, and to kind of test things out. Like right now, I'm sort of playing like some of the games I sort of missed at the beginning of the beginning of it. So like Sackboy Adventure and a couple of other ones that are on there. And I rolled over some of my saves from from Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So I pulled all those over and got some extra trophies. I hit level 52 in my for plat. I have 52 platinum trophies this year, which is pretty crazy. And then my number 1, believe it or not, an Xbox game. Yes, Hi-Fi Rush. I put that on my thing. A while ago I was in early. Oh well, actually around now I was actually gifted the Game Pass Ultimate. So I testing out that stuff. So and then the surprise was literally early this year was Hi-Fi Rush during the winter, and it was a great experience. It's nice to have a stylized game. As much as it's nice to have games that everything looks realistic. People get like realistic shading and stuff, but I always been attracted to games that have a legitimate style to them. So fun game, if you don't have it. By the way, I did because I know my Ultimate is going to be running out really soon. I just last week a few months back I just bought the game because it's just cheap. So and it runs on my PC. It actually runs on my dirt old 2012 PC. So that's pretty impressive, right? So yeah, so good stuff. And that's a bit.
By the way, Logic Wins, who's been listening to Throwdown since day one, back in the back days. He goes, Manny, enjoying an Xbox first party game? Nani?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the caveat. It was made by a Japanese studio.
Yeah, that's why.
Just saying. I don't say I have a bias, but for some reason I tend to like Japanese games a lot more than Western games.
Yo, man, that's racist.
Not sure why. It's racist.
Oh, by the way, I do have to mention something. I didn't mention a certain thing. If DLCs could have counted, I didn't count them because they're not full-fledged games.
I know what you're thinking.
Phantom Liberty would definitely be in my top 3, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that was fucking good. That's another story.
The redemption
arc of Cyberpunk is complete.
The best continuous game.
Yeah, that's right.
Ongoing story.
Oh man! All right, Brett. Top 3 games of the year for you.
Baldur's Gate, hands down. Like probably first and second place go to Baldur's Gate, but not really. But like, fuck, Baldur's Gate was better than I expected. I've been talking this game up for I don't know how long, Brian. Like, I think everybody else but Brian probably tuned me out.
Yeah.
But like for fucking ever, like I was so excited about this shit. But I was like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until release. So I got to go in blind, and holy fuck, did it pay off? Like I have not had a game where I like enjoyed just diving into this much, and I'm not even that far into it. Like I'm at this weird conundrum. I'm like, the game is so good, I almost don't want to play too much of it all at once. Like I don't want to binge this game. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like cutting in. I'm playing Valheim while I'm playing it. So, but yeah, definitely Baldur's Gate. I've already played like 40 hours of it. I'm still in Act 1. Second place, and I was a bit surprised by this. And at the time, I would have told you that it came out of nowhere and just swept for Game of the Year. Remnant 2. Holy fuck, that game just... I have never... Like, I played Remnant 1, and it was a solid idea. It was pretty well executed, but it wasn't 100% there. And I don't think I've ever seen a game go from a good idea to its ultimate version. Like, that shit went Super Saiyan in one iteration, right? Like, usually it takes a few times to, like, hammer out an identity where you really want to land. Like, nah, dude, like, Remnant 2 took everything about Remnant 1. It was like the difference between Portal 1 and Portal 2. You know what I mean? Like, it was a concept and then a fully fledged, holy fuck, knock your pants off kind of game. If I haven't raved about it enough, Remnant 2 is awesome. Go play it. It's on Game Pass now, along with Remnant 1, so you can play both. See if I'm right. Do it for free. Oh, it's great. And then 3, which I would have expected to honestly take my Game of the Year, Starfield. As much as there is a lot to complain about Starfield, there's also a lot great about it. There's just a lot to Starfield, fucking period. And it does have that Bethesda magic. It's just kind of a little bit broken up, and it's almost a shame because I feel like the good does get buried in the bad a little bit, even though there's so much more good than there is bad by any other
I find it ironic because it's like it's got a lot of the good Bethesda game stuff in it, but it's a little bit too scattered.
I 100% agree with that. It's just scattered. There's fun in there, but it's not. It doesn't have that hook that just grabs you and pulls you the way Fallout or Skyrim or Elder Scrolls does. Like, I don't look up from Starfield and be like, holy fuck, it's been 4 hours. But again, there's a lot of really fun stuff in there. I don't know if it's going to be updated. Like, I don't know if it can be I don't know if its problems can be updated away. But if anybody other than Bethesda had made this game and the contexts were different, like let's say this was Outer Worlds 2, I'd be like, oh, holy fuck, Outer Worlds 2 really fucking nailed that shit. So, still the third best game I played this year, I feel like.
Cool. All right, Adam, what you got? 3 games of the year for you.
All right. So, I reviewed like over 40 games this year.
You went ham this year, man.
I went, and I still got more. Yeah, and I play a lot of games, a lot of old stuff. I mean, NHL Blitz 2003, hits. I'm saying I play that pretty much every day. I love that PS2 game. Love that game. But when it came down to my 3, it comes down to replayability. The fun factor of just pick up and play. Yes, there have been great games that I played story-based. Remnant 2, especially Remnant 2, we're still playing that. It's awesome. But for me, it's more like if I only had a certain amount of time, if I only had 15 minutes or half an hour, what can I jump in right now and have fun? And those are my 3. So, number 1, RoboCop, Rogue City. Loved it. Loved RoboCop. I love the feel. It puts you in those classic movies. And if you grew up with those movies, with the graininess and all that, when you watch those old movies now, that's what you feel from RoboCop. Just the dialogue choices that you can pick and how you go about just being RoboCop. It's fun. It's just different. The blood that splats up on the walls and everything. It's the dialogue. Some people may bitch about some of the jokes, but it's fitting of the time period that they're trying to represent. Does it fly now? No, go ahead. Go ban it for whatever shit you hear, but it fits for the time period. So I love that one. The next one is something I brought up earlier, FC24. That game changed. I mean, you saw the report. According to Xbox, I've put in over 208 hours into that game alone. And it's for evolution. It's not just for, it's just a sports game. What they did with Evolutions, which is new to this, is that you get to upgrade real life players like almost like an RPG. Like you do certain challenges and you build that player up, and then those attributes are permanent. And so when you're playing other people online, let's say if you're Tony, you're an 85 overall player with certain things, and I have a Tony, but I upgraded you to like an 88 or 89.
A better Tony.
A better Tony. That's unique to me. I chose to upgrade you. Out of all the thousands of players out there, I chose to upgrade you. Now you are unique. Now it feels intimate. It feels special. So my team, I pretty much upgraded everybody on it, and then they're all different. And when I play people online, I can tell, because sometimes, someone has the same type of play. I'm like, no, yours doesn't play like mine. Yours doesn't have the play style that mine has. So I love that, and that's why I keep playing, and I keep upgrading guys, and just really customizing that. And the last one, and man, this one blew me away. This one took me to a place I didn't think I was going to go. I sent a nice long email to developers, thanking them for bringing this into my life. It's something I wasn't sure I needed. I didn't even think about it, but I did. Pinball M. It's by Zen Studios. It's all horror themed. There's no microtransactions. Everything you get, challenges, stuff, upgrades your table, upgrades your game area room, which has the theme. So if you're playing The Thing, you're in a cabin, you see all the creepiness, you can upgrade the cabin, you can upgrade the table. There's all these different challenges, no microtransactions, don't buy any of this stuff, just keep playing and have fun. I think there's over like 28 different game modes in there. You name it. There's a blackout mode where it's like pitch black and like scares and screams come out, and then the light will flash, and that's the only time you get to see the ball. It's just fun. The interface, it's great. It shows like movie posters. There's Chucky, and there's I'm blanking on the other game that
Friday the 13th.
Dead by Daylight. No, Dead by Daylight, and that one has a cool idea where you could play the killer or the survivor, and as you progress through the table, the story changes, and you see the person hiding and doing all this stuff around the table. Is great. You're playing the Chucky one. There's blood on the table, so the ball is rolling, and it goes over puddles, and you see the blood on the ball as it's rolling around. Oh, it just has this really clean interface. And it's just fun. I just have so much fun when I have it on my Xbox, I have it on my Steam Deck. When I go to boot that up, and the first thing I see it, I have to play it. I want to play it. I want to get my score up. I want to unlock stuff, complete challenges. It's fantastic. I love that game. So those are my three.
All right, Brian, what you got?
Oh, mine's gonna be fascinating. Although Starfield was meant to be there, but I looked back and I was like, I don't think it can be. I just didn't enjoy it that much, but not for the reasons that Brett and Carlos didn't enjoy it. I just didn't like the idea that it just wasn't a good enough space game. As you know, I like me some space games, and the space in it was just kind of it ironically felt like a backdrop.
Space was empty.
Well, but the problem was space wasn't empty enough for me, so I was like, this is a bit weird. And again, it just felt like Fallout 4 in space, which is just not enough for me. But that's how things are. Which means that I only really have 2 games to talk about, which is kind of weird, but that's just how things are. In no order, Atomic Heart, that came out earlier this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about that game.
Everyone did. I thought it was actually quite fun, for a for studio's first game. It was surprisingly good, and it worked well and ran well and had a cool story. Had robots. Robots are always cool and interesting. I like the puzzle rooms. They actually felt weirdly like good puzzles. It feels like these games that have puzzles aren't that interesting of puzzles. It just feels like most game puzzles are just like, oh yeah, you move the box to here, and while that puzzle's complete. Whereas these puzzles, you had like, okay, maybe go back and rethink things and try again and try and work things out. They're not on Breath of the Wild type puzzles, but they're just better than most, and it's like that's fine by me. Ending was a disaster, but everything up to that was fine. So it just happens. And the other one is Atlas Fallen, a smaller game that came out, I think, September-ish. Very reminiscent of like your God of War type action games, and it was really nice. It was fairly simple, fairly straightforward, not overly exciting, not overly great, but it was just fine, and it filled a nice void. One of the things that I liked is the how did I put this? The system that they have to deal with combat, where if you fight without being hit, your combos grow more powerful, plus you get more buffs, and then you can customize what buffs you get, and they range from giving you certain powers or allowing you to like dodge in certain ways, and I think in total they had like 120 different buffs you can choose from. So hence you can just mix and match, and it just becomes a really fun game of like, okay, how do you want to build? Do you want to build for defensive play or go all out offensive or whatnot? So I thought that was a fun game. Short game-ish, but it was okay. And yeah, that's mostly it. I guess honorable mention to other games I played this year that didn't come out this year. Transformers, Cybertron games. They were just really good. Why don't we have more games like that? And Little Nightmares.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, cool. I played that when I was moving house because I had no PC, so perfect Steam Deck game. And it's just nice. Yeah, I know it's a horror game, but it just looks nice, plays nice, sounds nice. It's not trying to be massive spectacle with a grand story about saving the world. No, it's a horror game. You just go through the world, and I really do like the look of the game. I think it's just so distinctive. Again, it goes back to the idea of like, how do you create good character, or how do you design good characters? If you can silhouette them out and you can recognize them, then they're good. Little Nightmares does that in buckets, and it's like, yes. And that's mostly it.
Has 3 come out yet?
Not that I know of.
It's also a questionable one too, because it's not the same game studio anymore.
Uh-oh.
That's controversial.
Yeah, the company that made those games kind of moved on.
Crazy.
But it's still owned. I think it's still owned. It's like an EA game, as I remember. I can't remember who it is.
Yeah. I said, Brian, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I haven't really played. Well, I haven't completed. Manny, what's the one that you said? Hi-Fi Rush. I haven't finished that yet. I'm kind of annoyed because I stopped to play other games and then I just didn't get back to it. And I was meaning to, but then I was like, let me just check out some Yakuza 0. And then here I am, like 50 hours into it and still not finished yet. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, Chris, what you got, man? 3 games of the year for you.
This year's been a little dry for me. There's a bunch of games I wanted to play, but I didn't get to. Like Armored Core 6 or Zelda, I didn't get to that. But what I did play, my top 2 is horror games. So I guess my top 1 is Resident Evil 4 remake.
Oh.
I loved it. I thought it was well done. I thought the story changes actually were good. I was of the mindset like you were, like don't change it. Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. Don't fuck with the game or whatever. And I did. I kind of got that with Dead Space. Like Dead Space stuck to like 98% of the original story. Like they didn't change. Like everything has the same beats. They improved some stuff. Like the 0G controls were completely improved, and I thought they were way better than the original game. And so that's my number 2 game. But well, Resident Evil 4, I did like the story changes they made. Sadler didn't feel like a charlatan this time. He felt like a genuine like cult leader, and he believed all the bullshit he was saying. And I mean, and he was convicted, and also they moved around kind of some of the character interactions, which I was like, okay, this kind of makes more sense. Lewis had more to do in the game, and you kind of connect with him more than in the old one. Uh, so there was and Separate Ways was a way better DLC than the original one. I think I thought that was very well done, and you see Ada going through the same areas and how she handled things, and she has totally different fights, and they kind of move some stuff off from Leon to her, which I was like, okay, so they didn't get rid of some of these battles; they just put it to her, and then he did other stuff. So that was pretty it was pretty good. And there was a fight I hated in the old game. And it was the U3 fight where you have to fight the monster and the floors drop away. Like you're just in this random cave and there's these cages and you have
Yeah, I
to
remember
get
that. Yeah.
each cage and drop each one. You try to drop the creature and you fight it. So that fight was removed from Leon. Like he didn't have that fight. I'm like, thank God, because that fight sucked. It was stupid. So they gave it to Ada, but that you fight in the same cave, but you don't have the stupid drop away rooms. It's just a straightforward battle, and you go into like an arena. But I prefer that to the weird drop away rooms, and you can't kill the thing, and you have to run out and hit these switches. Which is that was all. There was a couple of stupid parts of the old game. I'm glad they got rid of that. So that to me, like it was chef's kiss. Well done. They adjusted things where I was pleased with the results. And Dead Space, I was also pleased, and they satisfied me in the other thing where it's like they stuck to it. I mean, even though Isaac could talk and he couldn't talk the original game, he talks in this game. I was fine with that, and they stuck to the story for the most part, and I enjoyed that. It was beat for beat the same game. You could almost overlay them over each other, and that was well done. And with the graphics enhancements and stuff were excellent.
What did you think about how they connected all the ship finally, as opposed to like having that thing where you had to use the transit? Where literally
that was good too.
You could literally run from one side of the ship to the other.
Yes, that was good too. Yeah, you can. It makes more sense too. It's like because in the old game you think like, well, how can this ship is so big and there's so many people on it? How can they all take the same tram to get around? Right? There has to be a way to get from one place to the other if you have to walk. Or so it's like, hey, I could hop on the subway, but if the train's fucked up, I can always go up to the street and take a bus, or I could walk, right? If I had to, and it just happened, right? So the same thing, like they actually mapped it out the ship so that you can walk from one area to the other, and so that was good. So there was quality of life enhancements that was well done. Like Isaac fights a little better in here. In the first game, he was very clunky, and then they refined it through 2 and 3.
The areas were wider, the corridors. There was more space to move.
Yeah, and also you could do ambient light effects and all this stuff, and you have fog, and it was just spookier, and they were able to do grander fights. Like so, when you had to get the not the ADS cannon afterwards, you used the ADS cannons to shoot that thing off the ship, the giant mass that was on it. So this time you don't use the ADS cannons to do it. You actually have a 0G fight, and you have to figure out how to get that thing off the ship. So that was nicer because it wasn't like repeating the same thing where it's like, oh, I got to use the ADS guns to shoot this thing. No, you had to take Isaac out in 0G and like use the environment to get this thing off the ship. So that was well done. So that was my number 2 for sure. And number 3 was Spider-Man 2. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's little things that bothered me. It's like, when do I ever not want to be Spider-Man in a Spider-Man game? There's no way that it's like that kind of pissed me off. But when you were Spider-Man in some of the fights and stuff, that was great. It's like, but please, it's like Insomniac, everyone, listen. If I'm playing X hero, it doesn't matter if it's Wolverine, Batman, Spider-Man, whoever it is. I want to be that guy. I'm playing Spider-Man to be Spider-Man. It's like, at least Miles Morales is kind of Spider-Man. It's like, okay. But it's like, I do not want to paint graffiti, and I do not want stealth missions with Mary Jane where apparently Kraven's army becomes completely retarded when they have to face a redhead with a taser. They now are not, formidable at all, and they can just get completely upended by one woman with a taser, whereas you're fighting with a superhero and they can just completely trounce him, with swords. So that's ridiculous. That pissed me off, but other than that, I did enjoy the whole story. The whole thing with Venom and Kraven was a good villain. I did like how he was written, so that still, to me, was a pretty good experience.
Nice. All right, so let's move on to the one game that disappointed you in 2023. Jay Shep, you gave me a good segue. He goes, I'm surprised Forspoken hasn't come up yet. That's because we were talking about the best games of the year. That game was absolute trash. Fucking terrible. One of the worst games I've ever played. That was the first game I reviewed this year, too. And I was hyped. I wanted to play the game. But the more I saw of it, including demos that I went to for events, made me like it less and less. But when you play that game, man, what a piece of shit that was. Like the most insipid main character I've ever experienced. Like, oh my God, I have superpowers. I move things with my freaking mind. Like, are you kidding me? Who wrote this shit? Actually, I know who wrote this shit. Fucking modern writers. They like, you see this type of trash in like every movie now, but it was just terrible. Like the game again. I'll admit it. The gameplay was kind of cool. But the world was fucking just like there was nothing going on there. I know that's part of the story. And the story itself was fucking awful too. Stupid. It made no sense, like you're just going from place to place. It didn't link, but what really killed it for me was the character. Like horrible fucking character. Like not only was the character just again insipid fucking airhead, but the acting itself was just bad. It terrible. That game is the Saints Row of this year for me, and that was another one. I don't know which one I like less, Saints Row or this piece of shit, Forspoken,
Something special happens when bad acting meets bad writing.
Yeah, it was a confluence of bullshit, absolute dog shit of a game, all right, but it's fun to dunk on it, Carlos, biggest gaming disappointment of the year.
This might come as a surprise, but it's definitely Starfield. Even though it's in my number 3.
Controversy.
I feel that though.
Not because it's a bad game, but because the last 5 mainline Bethesda games that I played, I fucking loved. I loved Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I love those games. For Starfield, I cannot say I love this game because I do not. So, it sucks, but I have to mention it because I honestly, I played other games. I played Armored Core 6, which is a fine game, but I mean, didn't disappoint me. So, Starfield, when the next mainline Bethesda game comes out, I'm expecting, this is a game that I'm going to be talking about for fucking years for the next 10 years on Throwdown.
Yeah, by the way, Jay Shep likes what you're saying right now.
No, of course he does.
Shout out to Jay Shep, man.
Let me throw a shocker in there. I 100% agree. I'm almost in the same boat, man. Like I get it. It game is good. It should be great.
Yeah. And by the way, also shout out to J-Shed because he's the one that kind of helped me out with some of the stuff with Starfield in the beginning when we were talking about it. It just it is what it is at this point. But in a year where Baldur's Gate 3 came out, it sucks that a mainline Bethesda game is not a titan in the industry like the last couple of releases, the last several releases, to be honest.
All right, Manny, any gaming disappointments?
To be honest, no, because I've played so little this year. I've been quite safe.
Yo, man, the disappointment is yourself.
I don't know. I mean, I was happy with the things that I played. Granted, I'm playing just a slight bit more, but not the greatest of years. I mean, if you think about it, it's like it wasn't enough for me to go out and get a console until the end of the year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. By the way, I got to bring up a quick thing here. Logic Win said, and this is a sticking point with me, man. Mm-hmm. See, back when I was a youngin', we used to call stories where a character from our world goes to a fantasy world. We used to call those portal fantasies. That's a genre.
Portal fantasy.
You know what they're called now, right?
It's the Japanese name, right?
Isekai, yeah.
Isekai.
Yeah.
Isekai,
So every time I hear Isekai, I'm like, portal fantasy.
Doesn't Isekai mean portal fantasy?
Yeah, no, that's what it means. But but that term has overtaken it. Now, now the genre is just Isekai.
Tony, fun fact. Can you do you know which particular medium propelled that term to overtake anything else?
Anime.
Yeah, but which particular one?
Sword Art.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I got it.
But again, this is just crotchety old Tony. I'm like, there used to be a term for this. But it's all
Did there though? Like I never heard that when I was a kid, and also like
that's what it's always been called. It's always been called a portal fantasy. That's the name of the genre.
Yeah, I didn't know it.
Yeah,
but
like Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, and Alice in Wonderland. The fucking what's the name of the Christian guy? You know what I'm talking about.
Wizard of Oz, the Chronicles.
Yeah. Chronicles of Narnia. Thank you. That's what it is. Yeah, it's always been
Never-Ending Story.
Yeah,
we just used to call those fantasy.
It kind of is in a way.
Yeah, I was thinking
it's the idea of a person from our world going into a fantasy.
Yeah, it's always called. But again, it's like you call sword and sorcery something, you call high fantasy something. You know what I mean?
I just never heard that term before.
Interesting.
Isekai.
Yeah. Isekai. That's that's what the
kids
are
I had
using,
never heard the term before. Isekai.
Interesting.
Isekai, like I had never it. To me, it wasn't established as a genre until Sword Art Online. Until then, it was just like kind of a component of a lot of fantasy. Like it wasn't uncommon for fantasy to be like someone from our world goes in there, or someone from their world comes here. Like that was kind of like,
but that was a
third of all fantasy.
Yeah, no, Brett, I'm not taking away your experience because you never heard it, but that is the name of the genre. That's what it's always been called.
I believe it. I believe it. I'm just saying, like
Bleach is one of those, by the way.
It's in the other, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he is. It's one of those things. He's a modern kid that gets sucked into this world.
Yeah. But anyway, I will never call it isekai, even though but guess what it is? It's portal fan. Anyway, Brett, disappointment game.
Oh, I got 3 and 2 of them.
Let's go.
All right. So you want the hot takes first, or let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
The real answer, the number one is Redfall. Let's be fucking honest. This thing was a dumpster fire on wheels.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. That's how bad it was. It had the potential to do some cool stuff. It was from the people who made Dishonored, but I can't think of something failing more spectacularly than Redfall. Redfall is the uncle hooked on meth that you don't talk about at Thanksgiving. It is the shove it under the rug. Let's never speak of this again. It never happened. It's bad. It's just bad. We could all be playing a cool fucking vampire shooter, but no, Redfall had to happen. So there's that. Now on the hot takes. Starfield is also in there with it. It was good. It should have been great, man. Like it's to have that many successes is a curse, I guess. The only thing I can hope is that this turns around, because this has been, in my opinion, it's been happening for a minute, man. Like Bethesda games are becoming more and more streamlined, less and less deep RPG. Like even down to like the whole like in Starfield, your armor is one equipment slot. Like all of your clothes are one equipment slot. The fuck is like, oh, you get an outfit and then a hat. Bitch, when I played Morrowind, I had like gloves, bracers, pauldrons, a chest piece, a helmet, legs, boots. Legs and boots were fucking separate things. Gloves and pauldrons and a chest piece were separate things. I could mix and match armor, motherfucker. Now I'm like, you can have a spacesuit and a hat. What the fuck, man? So I'm hoping at least a little bit this maybe is a kick in the pants to kind of reverse that direction, because not only does it seem kind of broken up, but I feel like that's the other problem of it. Like, even if it were broken up, but I could change every component of my spacesuit, like that would I think be contextually better, because I would be expecting, you know, the game to be made of a million little pieces that are tedious and I'm walking through. But like it tries to run when it should walk, and it tries to walk when it should run. It's just, it didn't hit to me. Still like the game, but I'd rather play Fallout. I'd rather play Skyrim. And to me, that's not a success, right? Like, I should want to play the newer content more. Also, I love fucking space, but and then the third one is Final Fantasy. I was a little bit it's.
And you initially liked it too, I remember.
I do like the game. Yeah. I do like it. I'm not saying that I don't like it. Same with Starfield. Like, I like these two games. I'm just also kind of disappointed in them. Tony, you have to admit, Final Fantasy felt kind of like, I don't know, in certain places, bare bones.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint. I like the places you explore, specifically the dungeons. It's just a straight path. That's the thing that bothered me the most about this game.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just a straight path. Like, there's not a lot of, the cities don't feel like lived, like the same kind of thing. Like, things feel spread out. It doesn't feel like a living, breathing environment. It felt like a set dressing I was meant to run past and not look too closely at.
Yeah.
That being said, the story they overlaid over top of that, excellent. But just the whole, like, the game was good as long as you kept your blinders on. I just didn't necessarily appreciate having to keep my blinders on the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
I agree with that. I agree with that too.
I do want to mention, just for a little bit more context, if we were to combine last year with this year, even though this year is a lot better in terms of games, Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok would have been my top two for the combined years. Just
that's funny. Oh,
I would put Baldur's Gate in there. I feel like Baldur's Gate is this year's true triumph.
Yeah. All right. Adam, what's your gaming disappointment for the year? Well, he's muted. He may not be around. All right, I'll go.
I don't know.
I'm here. There he is. I have two. Gotham Knights.
I forgot that came out this year.
Yeah, a lot of people did. I was so excited for it. It looked great. The gameplay looked great. Co-op aspect was fantastic. Yeah, let's go. And it just, the combat. How do you screw up? The whole point that made the Batman series as popular as it is that combat system, and they just dumbed it down. It was boring. It's sad. It's sad. And Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I agree with that.
You know, especially from Fallen Order, that was awesome. And then Survivor, I'm like, what? I felt like I was just playing leftover missions and stuff. It just didn't feel like its own game. It didn't feel like a true sequel. It just felt like filler. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah. All right, Brian, gaming disappointment.
This one's interesting. So there was, again, I can't say Redfall because I wasn't expecting much from it because the game kind of looked a bit meh. Even from that very, very first teaser trailer that they put out, I was one of the ones that's like, the game kind of looks like garbage. You know, they haven't shown anything and doesn't look interesting. And then they had the first gameplay thing, and it's like, this game doesn't look interesting at all. But people were excited because they've seen a chick with an afro, so I guess that's enough to get some people excited these days. Exo Primal also not on the list because, as you guys know, I want me some Dion Crisis 2, and I seen that, and I was like, I don't care. So it's not that. It's a game that I think Adam's the only one that knows about it. Wanted Dead.
Also, yeah, that was good. It looked good. It had that anime style. It had an interesting. Yeah.
It had so much potential to be really good, and I can understand the weird cultish like of the game because again, it's a fun game. It has a really interesting storyline. Not original, but it's interesting. But it just feels eclectic. It feels like it doesn't. It's like 7 people made this game, and everything's just weirdly different in different places, and just doesn't work well together. And I really wanted to like it because again, you have guns, you have swords, you can combo between the two, you do cool finishing moves. You know, it's like okay, there's like room for depth and stuff. But then you play it, and it's just kind of like it's weirdly missing stuff, and it makes no sense sometimes. And some of the bosses just are weirdly unfair. So I don't know. It was really disappointing because I really wanted to like it. Like I seen 5 seconds of the trailer, I was like, "This is my game." And then I played it, and I was like, "It's missing stuff, and it's a shame." You know. And it even stars the lady that played Quiet from not Peace Walker.
Death Stranding.
5.
Oh, it's Death Stranding. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah, it stars her. She's not the Quiet herself, but the actress behind it. It stars her, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Definitely.
That's the one. And they put so much effort into like all the different types of marketing, because in the show she plays a police officer who loves cats, and she has 12 cats. It's a long story, and as part of like the marketing material, she hosts an out of game cooking show where she references herself from the game. So it's like, okay, they are trying something different there, you know. But yeah, the game was just kind of a letdown. Sad.
Yeah. By the way, before we get to Chris, a correction, Adam, we need another game from you. Gotham Knights is a 2022 game.
What do you mean? That was right before I took my trip to St. Louis, and that was during the summer.
A game came out October 21st, 2022. So maybe you played it during the summer, but the game.
No.
Adam, it's right here's the release date, crazy. Man. Yeah. Thank you, Rich, for letting us know that. Because I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah, Rich, what is that? No, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so Adam, you need another game unless you don't have a disappointment for this year.
Oh, I got a bunch
of it was last year, but I didn't want to say it.
No, I thought
right here it says it October 21st, 2022.
I just removed the game from my memory, so I couldn't remember.
Rich says he reviewed the game. Maybe he reviewed it last year.
That doesn't. No, this is crazy because
accepted.
I'm telling you, no, I can't because I remember rushing to play it before my trip, and I just got it in.
You probably didn't realize it came out last year.
I waited a whole year. Come on now.
Yeah, Adam, it came out October 21st, 2022. Man,
you know the way to check it, right?
Damn,
look at them Chivos.
That is nuts. Well, then I don't know. I mean, I got a bunch of
It made you so mad. It made you so mad.
Damn.
Honestly, Adam, you're disappointing me in 2023.
How is that possible?
Adam's all fucked up right now.
Yeah, because I remember having to do it, rushing and packing my bag.
You didn't realize it came out last year,
and I did that. And I did that before the summer. Yeah,
here it is, Adam. October 21st, 2022.
Because then I was also playing The Last of Us on PC during the ride.
Yeah, you probably just didn't realize. You probably just didn't realize it.
I don't know. That's still a disappointment.
By the way, The Last of Us came out in 2013, just to make sure.
No, the PC version.
Yeah,
PC one because that was on the Steam Deck and then issues. But then Modern Warfare 2.0.5/3. That one. That was a disappointment. I knew it was going to be a disappointment once they rebranded that it was going to be Modern Warfare 3 at the last minute. It's like, no, this is not going to be Modern Warfare 3. And even their whole naming convention with all this, none of it makes sense. You know, the story, they just can't let these characters go. Come on, Soap and Ghost, stop it already. Just create something new. These are not the remakes. These are retellings of these stories. And they keep recycling them over and over again. And then this version came with all the old maps again. And it's just nothing new. So that was a disappointment. Because once they switched it to 3, I looked. I was like, all right, you're going to add something new? Well, we're going to add a zombie world into DMZ. And I was like, no, that's not new. That's not new. So that was a disappointment.
All right.
Yeah. What was Redfall a disappointment for you, or did you?
No, because I wasn't excited. I didn't care. When I saw it, it looked disappointing. I was like, well, this doesn't look fun. Remember we talked about when they did the showcase, and they were like, oh, look what you can do with this gun.
We kept getting it mixed up with that other vampire game.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't. I'm not interested. And so when it came and it flopped, it was like, whatever. I had no.
So I guess it was probably Rich that thought this was a Game of the Year candidate beforehand. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, Chris, what was your biggest gaming disappointment?
I mean, I personally didn't have any. I was just, if I had to say anything that puzzled me, like how bad it turned out, was the Gollum game, the Lord of the Rings. God. I couldn't believe, like, okay, I didn't have any expectations for the game. I didn't even know what was coming out. And there's other stuff I was looking forward to, and that has either turned out decent or good. But that game, it came out, it was total shit. I watched YouTubers play it, I watched reviews of it, and then, you know, the devs put out a sad Twitter apology, like, I don't know what they were blaming, and I was like, how did you release this? How did this get past you? You're like, this is fine. We could sell this. Like, this game looks unplayable. Like, everybody was having problems with, like, it was crashing or glitching out, or the sound was missing. I'm like, this is horrible. This is like Bush League shit. Like, how did you release this? So I wouldn't say, like, me personally, I wasn't disappointed in the game. I didn't give a crap. I didn't even know it was coming out. But then you see it, and then it's like, wow, this is train wreck happening. I have to look at this, right? So that to me is like, I'm just puzzled how the fuck that even happened. Like, how did you release that shit like that?
Yeah. Hey, Brett, you missed one, by the way.
What's that?
This game was so disappointing that you forgot about it. Diablo 4.
What's a Diablo 4?
Oh, damn.
Oh, man.
It's dead to me. It's dead to Brett.
Yeah. That shit the bed, didn't it? You know?
Fucking dead to me!
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even... Yeah, no, that one wins. That one 100% wins. I tried to block that out, and I'm going to have to process all this trauma again, Tony.
Sorry about that, you know. I think that's like the overall biggest disappointment of the year, like objectively, you know.
Brett, was it like one of what's the flashback, like one of those movies where it's like when you say like a white light and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like it was like a flashbang, and then like memories came flooding back in like a super quick jumbled overlaid montage. It's not as bad.
Oh man. Yo, real quick, somebody told me this story about like his uncle who went to like Vietnam and shit. You know, he was, soldier there, and one day they had the bright idea of playing with water guns, and somebody was like, "Yo, maybe we shouldn't do this with the uncle, right?" So some kid came up to him, hit him with the water gun, and the dude was back in Vietnam. He beat the shit out of the kid. He was speaking fucking Vietnamese and shit. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy, you know? So I'm just imagining you had a thing like that, bro, where you're like, you're back there, man. Fuck. With Diablo 4.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my ears are still ringing.
Oh, man. Didi Mao, you know? All right. I think we're done with the disappointment. So the last thing we're gonna discuss here on this long show. This is one of the last shows of the year, people. So you're getting an extra long episode here. What are we looking forward to in 2024 with video games? I'll start first. I'm looking forward to 2025. I don't think there's anything coming out this next year, man. It seems like all the titles I care about, GTA 6 and Monster Hunter, they're coming out in 2025, you know? I don't know what the fuck's coming out next year. So I know that's a cynical answer, but I literally don't fucking know. So I'll let the rest of you guys do it. By the way, Jay Shep, thank you. Yeah, great. He's great shoe. I'm pretty sure you meant show. I appreciate that. I like my shoes too, though.
He's a big Ed Sullivan show.
Yeah, it's a great shoe, you know?
It's a really big shoe.
All right, you guys go ahead. By the way, I'm going to take a quick piss, so you keep it going while I'm out. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
By the way, Tony can still hear us when he's going to the bathroom, so you can say all kinds of crazy ass shit.
This is true.
And yeah.
Just make sure not to take your mic with you, like a certain other person. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Ooh,
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So you're looking forward to that one?
Yeah, looking forward to that. Final Fantasy VII Remake was great. One of my favorite games of the year when it came out. And after that, I don't know what else comes out next year. Hellblade 2.
Anybody excited for Power World other than me?
Is that the Korean Pokemon game?
Yeah.
It looks interesting, but I don't know. I can't say that I'm excited about it.
I mean, I'm just excited to see what it comes out. Like it looks fucking crazy.
Isn't Elden Ring DLC supposed to come out next year?
I'm trying not to think about that too much.
Thinking about it will probably bring back flashbacks from the war, so we'll leave that one alone, right?
There was another one.
Give it to me.
Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited about that one.
That's the most anticipated.
Don't you want to play Assassin's Creed without the Assassin's Creed part, but all the boat part from the other games?
Yeah, but you can't get off the boat.
I think they got off the boat.
They can't.
Okay, Chris.
Okay. No, I was asking. I didn't know that.
I don't think it can. I think it's just ship to ship. I don't think you can board and fight.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah, like it's just but unless they changed it, that's how it was.
I mean, it's been developed for like
a decade, you know? Right? They could figure out the boarding dynamics in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't figure out the rest of the game in 10 years, so I don't know about that.
No.
There was one. What was that fucking not steampunk, like Art Nouveau multiverse? Nightingale. I'm excited for Nightingale. Nobody knows what this game is, do they?
I don't remember that one.
That's the one with the steampunk robots and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah. Summer Games
Fest. It's the one I sort of get mentally confused with Atomic Heart.
No, that's Clockwork. That is a different thing. Nightingale is remember when you guys saw the trailer and you're like, "Oh, this 100% looks like a Brett game," because it's like you jump through. It's the one with the fucking the
magic.
The umbrellas, where you can float on umbrellas, the Mary Poppins shit, where you can just like jump through dimensional portals into different weird places.
I think Brett's making up a game right now.
Bro,
I know, Brett.
He said Mary Poppins, so I was like,
Mary Poppins, like, okay, bro, I don't know, man.
It's got a glider in it. The glider's a parasol.
You can go run like Mary Poppins. You can.
Will. By the way, Carlos, I also Final Fantasy. I forgot about that. Yes, that is something to look forward to.
Final Fantasy.
Now we got to look at this Brett game. You know,
there's some other noteworthy games. I'm looking at GameSpot, so I'm just running through the list. Oh gosh, that's coming out. Sorry, I read ahead.
Whoa.
Yeah, looking at games. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
Ooh.
Maybe some people might like that.
In
January, Tekken 8. Rugby 24. Okay, fair enough. Whatever. Prince of Persia.
That one.
With Killmonger. That's comes out.
God.
Yeah, I cringed because I remembered that Suicide Squad's coming out in February. Moving on. There's a Jujutsu Kaisen game, which I'm guessing will be some sort of fighting game. Helldivers 2, remaster of Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and also 1, 2, 3. Nice. Destiny 2 stuff.
Destiny 2? Okay.
Oh, Brian.
Rebirth. Yep.
Doesn't your
March 22nd.
Yep. Dragon's Dogma?
Same day as Rise of Ronin, so I guess what game I'll be playing.
Rise of Ronin.
Oh, so does Black Myth Wukong in August.
Ooh, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
That game I'm
hyped. Yeah, I'm hyped.
And Space Marines 2 in September. Okay, so next year I might be eating quite well next year. Well, I will be. Dragon's Dogma 2. Sorry.
And Skull of Bones. Don't forget Skull of Bones.
Yeah. So again, there's possibly more. I'm sure that people in chat would have listed their games by now. But yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Mention Bump Stars?
I don't think so.
We got that one.
Yeah. Did anybody forget the Brett game?
I posted it.
What was it?
He posted it.
I posted it. It's called Nightingale.
Okay, Nightingale.
It is a multiverse.
And it's got gameplay.
Yeah, it's a multiverse. We saw the trailer at Summer Game Fest, and everyone went, "Oh, this game is a Brett game."
Yeah.
And then promptly forgot it. Apparently.
That's funny.
Does it have a date for next year or?
Yeah, it's February. It releases at least in early access in February. It's a Victorian themed or Victorian like stylized multi-world traversal game in the sense of like it's a building survival game that you then collect resources to open a portal to a new kind of realm, and the whole point is you're trying to get back to your realm. But yeah, it's survival, building, Victorian shit, multiverse, everything I love.
Cool. All right, what other games are you guys looking forward to? Actually,
there's not a lot that we know is coming out next year.
Is there a Resident Evil remake going to come out this
one?
year?
Yeah. Brian, did you name all the games that listed?
It's most of the ones that people would know about.
Okay.
There's always some random stuff that people would be like, "What the hell is that?" Like there's a game called Mars 2120. I don't know.
Yeah,
Metroidvania. Apparently, Alone in the Dark comes out next year.
Is it delayed?
Homeworld 3.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I think
I'm guessing delayed till next year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm looking forward to is Last of Us 2 multiplayer.
Oh yeah, that's another. I mean, it's not a big story, but yeah, we called it. Naughty Dog officially canceled The Last of Us 2 multiplayer.
Oh, that's a shame.
So there you go.
But you know what is coming out next year? Last of Us 2 remastered.
There you go. Yep, they officially announced it. So there you go. No factions for you. Yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it for us, man. Another successful year of the main Throwdown show. Hopefully next year we won't be spending so many episodes talking about court bullshit. You know, but yeah, good times. But yeah, we'll give our final shout outs for the year on the next show, which is the AMA special. People, you already know. Throw down your questions, man. So so make sure you start sending us your AMA questions. No video game questions, please. That's you, Black Metal Gamer. I know he always comes in there with video game questions every year consistently. We usually do like 2 questions, but 3 questions. We'll do 2 questions for everyone, but be creative about shit. Be creative.
There might be some sponsors, so
might be some sponsored stuff. If you got extras, we will sponsor. And some other guys will too. Ice Ali, you already know he's going to sponsor. But yeah, AMA special coming up on the Sunday show, so should be a good time had by all. Man, do we have anything to plug around here?
Crickets.
Nothing. No. Negans.
No.
Where the crickets at? All right. All right. So no Negan until next year.
Nothing till February.
Racist. Yeah. There it is. What's that shuffling going on right now, man?
I think Adam is shadow boxing.
Yeah, he probably is.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here.
Scratching his balls, because you see his screen. Oh, man. Anyway, you make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can also find us on every podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you have been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed our videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Majoma.
Next year, people.
You already know, man. We will be back on Sunday for the final episode of 2023. Later.
Peace.
Laters.